How's it going, everybody? I'm Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and we are back with some more Wilderland adventure. We are on session 48 of this specific campaign. We are joined 48, 49. Is it 49?
49.
Gosh
Yeah.
darn it, 49 of this specific campaign. Sorry, title is wrong. 49 of this specific campaign, and we are just gonna go with it. We have everybody tonight. Feanor, Nick is here, so he is here in a voice and etherealness with us.
Hear my slight echo.
No worries. We're all good. Things happen, and we are going to go ahead and just move along with just introductions, I guess. We'll jump right into that. Let's go ahead and start, as always, with Theodric.
Hey everybody, I'm that Tubby Australian. I play Theodric Grimborn. He is our young slayer of Rohan. He is 18 years old and trying to find his way in the world, trying to gain new experiences, learn how to control his blood rage, so that he may, one, better defend his dear friends in the party, two, protect the people of Middle-earth, and three, become a true Rohirrim and, bring honor, glory, and all that cool stuff to Rohan.
I love all the cool stuff. It's all good. Let's see how Theodric and his party of companions can do just that.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. Our next
Huzzah.
character.
I said it.
Huzzah, of course. Our next character is Jessamine Sackville Baggins.
Hello, that's me. Hi everyone. My name is Leah. Also go by SpiderFan33 in Twitch chat if you're in there. We have fun. We hang out. No, Jess is so she totally respects Theodric's whole honor, nobility thing. And he's on his path to try and find his true self. But Jess is on a path to try and find gold and money. She wants to make bank so she can finally buy Bag End from Bilbo and evict him. That's what I was looking for. Evict him from the premises so her parents can move in.
Wow, we just learned a lot about Jess.
You're the bad guy.
I feel like that wasn't a secret though.
Yeah, well,
It was the subtext until now. It is write that down, everyone. This marks the beginning of Jess's villain arc. All right.
It is simple madness.
I love it. And finally, we have our last character of this campaign, Feanor.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Nick, or Love Chris in the chat. I play Feanor Luctuin, our Mirkwood Slayer. The other two are kind of lofty goals. Feanor's just kind of bombing around Middle-earth as a hobo, fixing things up as he goes. Everything he's asking for just makes it easier for him to wander, more or less. Can you fix all the roads? Can we establish a stronger army so there aren't orcs everywhere? Oh, we're going to Mountain Hall? Cool, I can probably persuade someone to give me something while I'm there that'll benefit everyone else.
Especially now, riding on top of Nim, you have bonus to charisma-based rolls, right?
Yeah, I think it's charisma and traditions.
Yeah.
I'm more noble. Yeah, my noble heritage is finally coming through.
A little bit longer hair as it's beginning to grow.
Yeah, as he's just forgotten to cut it.
Yep.
As it is not an intentional decision.
Perfect, absolutely. These are our characters as they have started this adventure to, hunt down an escaped prisoner. But before we get into that, I'm Kyle. I am the lore master here. I play both with and against these players, and I also help to narrate their impact on Middle Earth and see as they adventure through and dispel the dark and accomplish own personal goals and maybe not accomplish own personal goals, but really help to narrate how they make an impact in this beautiful world of Middle Earth. This is Adventures in Middle Earth. It is a D&D 5e campaign set in the world of Middle Earth, and it takes place between the years of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. It is currently 6 years after the fall of Smaug, and things are... well, they're just coming out of a time of elongated peace, the first time of peace for quite some time in all of Wilderland, basically everywhere east of the Misty Mountains. And a number of things have happened with this company, but one thing has led to another, and they are now in Wilderland, on a quest to go find an escaped prisoner. They all met at the Easterly Inn after an elongated Yule phase, fellowship phase, and they decided to go visit Mountain Hall. Upon their journeys southwards from the Easterly Inn, so I guess I can point with my cursor. From the Easterly Inn, they started making their way southward until they reached a boat. This boat had 2 dead Beornings, which one of them was recognized as Mirovich, and was later found out was essentially Beorn's right-hand man. And another Beorning by the name of Odo, and it had looked like that upon investigation of this boat that they were transporting a prisoner up the Anduin from one of the settlements down south. With that being the case, they seem to have been beset upon by orcs, as both Beornings had multiple orc arrows in the chest and back and whatnot, and they unfortunately died because of that. But there were tracks that were discovered of somebody leaving the boat, which again was later found out potentially it was an escaped prisoner that they are currently in pursuit of. However, they did the right thing, and they took the bodies back to Beorn's house, to where, again, a lot of information on the identities of these 2 individuals was discovered, and also they had basically participated in the wake and the funeral of the 2 Beornings. And with that, they were put to the task of going and chasing down this escaped prisoner, while Beorn also mentioned that there are some dangers on the roads. There are still some orcs out and about. Does that cover most of the bases? I think it does. Sweet.
Yeah, well, I think that covers most of the stuff we
Cool.
did. No, that's right. We are about to head off. We need a horse. Where is our pony that we requested?
You need a pony. Yeah, so at this point, the funeral has just ended. It is still pretty early in the morning, around 10-ish a.m., and you are gathering your stuff to be able to go. The funeral had just ended, and you had made your way over to the stables to get Baradarok and also Nim. And as you do so, I'm going to have the 3 of you make perception checks for me.
I got a 6.
Okay.
Big money, no whammies. Small money, much whammies. I got a
19.
For 2.
19.
As the 3 of you go to collect your stuff and collect your animals, actually, Jess, you decide to go into your cabin and make sure that everything is spick and span. So you're not even with Theodric and Feanor at this point, but as Theodric and Feanor grab your mounts, one thing passes as a little bit odd. Feanor, you think nothing of it. However, Theodric, you see that for the first time in all the time that you've known both Nim and Feanor, Nim is just chilling in the stables like any other livestock, like a horse, not off on its own, doing his thing. He seems to be almost acting domesticated to a degree.
That's weird.
What?
Usually, nothing. It's nothing. I thought Nim just usually did his own thing. I've never really seen him chilling out and relaxing in a stable with Baradarok.
Yeah, actually. Well, look, to be fair, on our way here, we did see a bunch of wildlife just chilling in the fields, doing their own thing.
I mean, Yeah, and that's
And for
without
this
thinking about the nightmarish thought of those
magic,
lambs again.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh my god, the dogs and the lambs serving lamb shanks. Oh,
Yeah, it's yeah.
oh. Do you think they know? Do you think they're aware of it?
I don't think so.
The
I hope
terrifying
not.
thought of animal sentience is if it can feel and think, should we eat it?
I don't think they can think.
Ah, mentally castrated animals. Yes.
I
All right.
I guess.
That's also really messed up.
I don't know. I mean, we wouldn't really consider the spiders of Mirkwood sentient, right? Like they're not.
One of them literally spoke.
I mean,
Oh wait,
yes,
you
but you
weren't
don't
there for
hesitate.
that. Oh my god. Yeah, no. Savage Taller spoke.
Okay, yeah, but you wouldn't hesitate in. Well, I mean, you would hesitate in eating it because it would probably be poisonous. But like,
Yes.
if it wasn't poisonous and you were desperate, I'm sure you'd eat it. Never mind. We're not having this discussion. I just
Yes.
thought it was weird Nim was here and
No.
not off gallivanting in the woods like
No,
he is
that is.
wont to do.
I'm glad that he's here and wasn't like accidentally killed by like a bear or something. But I get what you're saying. That is kind of strange.
And as you get your steeds together, Nim almost more readily obeys you, Fedor, as you climb onto his back. He kind of like trots alongside Baradarok as you make your way to the front gate. At around this time, Jess has come out with all of her basically baggage, pots, pans, everything needed as you begin to get ready to depart. At the front gate, you see that Beorn is standing there. Most of the guests have either made their way into the Great Hall or have departed. The aura here is a little strange. It's both sad, but also there's definitely a hope to it. The past few days, if you remember, has been really, really rainy. You're basically the beginning of your journey. It's just been nothing but just torrential rains. And since you've been at Beorn's house, it's been bright and sunny and cheery, which, considering the dour situation, is odd. But it does give you kind of almost this like elevated like respite from being here. But as you all gather at the front gate and join Beorn, he has his hands on the reins of what looks to be a pony. This pony has it's a brown pony, but it has almost kind of like a ginger sheen to some of its spots that it has on its belly. Or belly and like side and back specifically. And Beorn, he says, "Well, it looks like Perry made his way down and talked to the ponies. Well, this is a pony that decided to take you up on your task. This pony, her name is Burgundy." And Burgundy kind of walks kind of sheepishly up to you, and she looks basically Baradarok specifically in the eye as if they knew each other, almost as if they were like bunkmates or something. Who knows? But she seems to have decided to take you up on your goals of travel. So.
Well, I'm glad that the horse decided that it would like to come on this adventure with us when the dog went and spoke to it. Um, yes, I'm glad that this is happening. Thank you for and Fëanor turns to Burgundy the horse. It's like, and lowers his head. It's like, thank you for joining us and embarking on this quest with us.
Can I roll an insight check on Burgundy to see, like, does she like Broderick or does she like Broderick, and maybe that motivated her?
We are
could-
not playing matchmaker for my
You can make an
horse.
insight check or a nature check.
I just want to know,
He's
okay?
a
I just
thoroughbred.
want to know.
He's way out of the class.
I think they're both the same. They are both the same. Sure. Let's get insight. And that's not bad. That's a 14. On insight.
You have no idea. You've seen horses and ponies. Actually, you've never seen horses and ponies interact per se. But they do seem friendly. As I had explained, it like they had they known each other. Maybe they stayed next to each other or whatnot. But the one thing you do notice on Burgundy is she doesn't have a saddle in the traditional sense, but she has basically these two blankets put on top of her, as if kind of acting as a saddle. These blankets, the bottom one is made of wool, sheep's wool, and on top of it, there's kind of almost this more like linen bluish blanket that has been laid on top. And she basically kneels down on the ground as she expects. She is a trained pony. She is waiting for any kind of luggage or anything to be put on top of her for her to carry, or even riders at that point.
Even knelt down, how tall is this pony compared to Jessamine?
Still taller. So Jess would have to like reach up like this to get on, like to put her hands on top, even kneeling down.
Fane will boost Jess.
I was gonna say, can I roll a strength to just have Theodric pick her up one-handed by like the back of her shirt and deposit her on the pony?
Oh, that's way better. Do that.
Yeah, make a strength check.
Strength check.
I like it.
What's my strength?
This feels incredibly patronizing.
It is. 15. 15.
You can't test this grapple.
This is what I get for announcing my evil intentions.
It's more than enough. As you basically walk past with Baradrock, you're able to grab her kind of by the collar and just like slightly pick her up. It's not that high off the ground, and then just plunk her down on top of Burgundy. And Burgundy immediately stands up. And actually one thing that you're quite surprised with, Jess, is it's very stable, not shaky or rocky at all. She is a well-trained pony.
And Theodric's going to say, well, there we go. That's spectacular. Thank you, Burgundy. Look, Jess, like, this is even better for you. I know that you don't have any experience riding any sort of animals, but Burgundy here seems more than smart enough and more than well-trained enough to do all the work for you. You just sit on up there and rest your little legs.
I don't like this at all.
Don't worry, we won't be riding at a gallop. Keep it at a trot. The miles will disappear.
Exactly.
Does Burgundy have like any sort of riding tack on her?
Yeah, some. So there's like a small like reins that have been put on almost as if like prepped for it to be able to hold on to, but there's like no like saddle, and so there's not really like ways to be able to step up onto her or to really get off of her. She's very minimally geared up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, got it.
Enough to be able to hold on, but not like a ton in regards to stability.
Jess is holding onto those reins with like white knuckles.
And as Burgundy stands up, it's you probably with your head probably is like right along the like back of, let's say, like probably Nim, not so much Broadrock. Broadrock's huge, but the back of Nim, and so you're kind of just walking along the side or trotting along the side, and as you look down, it seems so far down. This is something that as you're white knuckling it, making your way. Well, before you start trotting, I guess, before you begin moving, even just the thought of movement is a little bit scary. But Beorn, he puts his hands on basically the rear flank of Burgundy and says, "You be good to this lot, especially young Jess. She is a dear friend of mine." And Burgundy almost kind of like nods in agreement with that. But Beorn, before the group of you begin to set off, he says, "Last night, as I had mentioned, me and my men went out and we slayed a number of orcs, clearly almost a dozen of them. It depends on which way you want to go, but it seems like the orcs were in pursuit of something or someone. They were organized. They weren't, well, let's just say they were in an encampment, and it wasn't a Well, they were a hunting party, clearly. We killed all that we could see, but we saw traces that there were others that were part of the group. So while you are journeying out on the road, particularly during the evening hours, make sure you take a special care to not get your throats cut in the night. These orcs were bred for war.
Thank you for the warning, Dain. We're going to take good care of Burgundy, and we're going to hopefully track down whoever killed... Oh, shit, what's his name?
Maravich.
Maravich, thank you. I wanted to say Melkovich, but I knew that was wrong.
Not
Maravich,
no.
and we'll keep an eye out. Thank you so much for your hospitality.
He chuckles deeply, goes, You don't have to worry about taking care of Burgundy. I think she'll be taking care of you.
Well, she'll definitely be taking care of Jess.
It's what I like to hear. And hopefully I can see all of you back in one piece.
Sweet. And we depart.
Okay.
Heading
With
back-
with that, I'm going to have, as the navigator, I'm going to have Feanor, you make a nature or survival check for me.
I got a 7 on my survival.
Okay. You begin to make your way, I'm assuming, back towards the river where you had originally found the boat.
Towards where the boats were, yeah.
Perfect. And so as you do so, you actually eventually catch up to the basically divot in the ground where in the muddy terrain, this boat had been dragged by both of your steeds. Jess, I'm going to have you make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Oh, goody. Is this against Shadow?
Yes.
Ooh, I get advantage. That's very good because I have a -1. What did I get? I got a 14.
14. Yeah, you're fine. You kind of get your bearings. And you keep remembering back to the time that you were in Woodman Hall and staying up in the tree. And this is nothing compared to that. It's tough at first, but you start slowly getting used to the ride. Who knows? Maybe after a couple of days of travel, this might not be so bad, but it's still kind of scary. You begin to follow this path all the way back to the original location. It takes you on steeds less than an hour and a half. It was almost a half-day travel before, but that was about an hour and a half back to the spot where you had found the boats. And as you can see, all the crows had gone, and the river is still rushing. The Anduin, after all of the rain, you can tell is really white watering at this point. And with that, however, it's started to be able to seep up onto the banks to a degree, especially with this kind of dam that has become to be made, and potentially washing away any signs of tracks. Theodric, I'm going to have you make a nature or a survival check for me as you survey the ground, using your hunter abilities.
Okie dokie. That's not great. I got a 5.
Okay. The orcs that had been impaled that you found the day previously are still there. You can tell that the crows have done a doozy on them, and most of the flesh that's on their faces, arms, and exposed areas has been pecked away. But they are still there with this great spear basically just stuck through the two of them. As you survey the ground, you notice that most traces of any kind of footprints or anything are gone, but you did know from the current previous night that they are in a southward direction. Your best bet is to make your way southward but it's up to you whether you want to go more along the banks of the Anduin or more inland, where there's probably a higher chance of discovering tracks. But if he didn't make his way through there, this escaped prisoner, you won't be able to pick up on any tracks. So it's I leave the option up to you as a party to decide what to do in this situation.
Remembering the noises I heard the previous night, the footsteps I heard that first alerted me to the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Do I remember what direction they were heading?
They were in a general east, little like east of the river, and so they were more inland. But that being the case, they seem to go further and further away from you. So the fact that you heard them meant that he wasn't directly by the river.
Okay.
Because that would have washed out the noise of any kind of movement or whatnot. They definitely, the person was closer inland.
Knowing that Theodric's going to say to Jessamine and Fainor, well, if I recall from the other night, the fact that I could hear the footprints means he wasn't, sloshing around in the mud and the shallows. So I think he probably would have headed inland. So I can't really make up much of these tracks, but I think we should probably just try to head a little further away from the bank anyway.
Yeah. We could spread out and expand our search radius for any tracks.
Yes. Because we saw the tracks the previous day were heading south. Right? That's the direction they're going south. We know roughly the direction to start heading in anyway, if that's what we want to go. So we can go search further, like a little bit away from the river, where it's easier to walk, potentially even on a road, for signs that someone's passed in the past day. Maybe even during the night they were tracking through the mud and stuff. So we'll be able to pick up the trail there. So it's like, what do you reckon?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Sweet. Okay. Well, no, it sounds like a good idea. Let's head inland and see if we can pick up the trail.
You begin to go at a little bit of a slower pace as you make your way southward through Wilderland. Fortunately, today is still a nice day. The weather does hold up. You do notice that there's definitely like a sucking sound as all of your mounts are walking away from the Anduin. And as you make your way inland, the terrain becomes much easier to traverse. It'll probably be some time without rain before the banks of the Anduin are very traversable at decent high speeds. But you begin to make your way south. Are you doing the kind of the spaced out abreast part as you're searching for tracks, or are you sticking together?
Probably like...
Yeah.
How far?
I think we should space out.
Probably like 30 feet apart from each other abreast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I'm going to have each of you then make survival checks for me.
Sweet.
He's gonna roll a d4 to see who gets him.
14.
Okay.
A 6.
Also a 14.
All right. Fainor, you decide to be the closest towards the Anduin. Fortunately, Nim is has the ability to traverse some of that terrain, but as you look down, there is no sign of any trace that can be found here of anything living. It's if it is, it's been lost in the mud, kind of almost becoming more bog-like. However, Theodric, you actually pick up on. You're probably the furthest eastward, keeping Jess kind of in the middle of the group of you. You actually have begun to pick up on a few trails, but one in particular that looks of interest there are a number of footprints that look to be multiple creatures have been moving in this direction. I'm going to have you make an investigation check for me.
Okie dokie. Oh, that's a 4.
4. They all look to be relatively the same size, but you're unable to determine what exactly they are. Jess, on the other hand, as you kind of are looking basically around. You look to your left, and you've picked up on a couple of footprints. These footprints seem odd, though, almost as if using kind of like your medical expertise that you have, this creature is limping. They are boot falls, for at least for one of them, but there is definitely a dragging sensation that has been happening. And as you begin to look, it actually meets up to a spot a little bit down the road that follows the tracks that Theodric found, almost as if they had collided at some point. And there is basically from that point on, the both trails converge onto the same path.
Was someone waiting for them, do you think?
That or someone's tracking them.
I don't think... There's no way they could have been waiting for them, because they were a potential prisoner.
And think about it this way. If let's say, like, we know that they were ambushed by orcs, perhaps the orcs didn't take lightly to one of their prey escaping. And so, when our prisoner took off, the orcs took off for a hunt.
Do one of the sets of tracks seem like slightly older or fresher than the other?
Make a nature or investigation check for me, Jess.
Wait, what's my investigation? No, it's the same. Okay. Nature then.
Okay.
That's all right. 15.
15. It's really good. Yes. The tracks that seem older seem to be the limping tracks. Almost as if the second pair of many tracks are pursuing this limping one.
Okay. All right. So we should probably pick up the pace before our prisoner is, well, shall we say, not alive?
Before he ends up in the stomach of some orc.
Yeah, I'd be awfully embarrassed to have to rescue a prisoner just to hand him over to Bjorn to be executed.
Yeah, look, yeah. But it would... yeah. I don't know. It would be a sick kind of humor, but I suppose it would be funny.
Yeah. I'd be embarrassed, honestly, because, like, picture it. Like, I'm saying this as we're moving off, like, in the pursuit of the thing.
Yeah, begin following the tracks.
But, like, yeah. Like, picture this. Like, you're in a rough spot. You're in a goblin cave, you know, about to be fed by orcs or whatever. And then, all of a sudden, round the corner, these three... Well, this knight in shining armor, like, gesturing to Theodric, sorry, the other way. This knight in shining armor, this brave elven warrior, and me... and we rescue him, and then he just gets thrown in a cell. Like, that feels like betrayal to me, almost.
Well, no, considering from what we can tell that you are a thief, at the very least.
I mean, we don't know anything. Oh, well, he stole a sword, I suppose.
Yeah. And didn't, if they were innocent, might have tried to maybe even curried some favor with Beorn and their people by saving the others, but took off on their own.
To be fair, being rescued...
I'm just saying it would be an awkward social situation.
That's what makes it funny, though.
Yes. Look, it would be extremely funny if we just gave you all the credit then. And we're like, no, oh my god, our mighty leader, Jessamine Sackville Baggins, she led the charge. And so then word can get around that just a hobbit saved him.
If
I
could figure out how to make my pony faster, I would ride ahead of all of you and ignore this, but I can't. So you'll just have to imagine that I'm doing that.
Make an insight check for me, Jess.
Oh, okay. Like, I said that in character, by the way.
Yeah.
I got a 7 for insight.
7. As you are having this conversation, you notice that the pathway, the ride begins to get a little bit bumpier. as you continue walking. The terrain itself hasn't changed all that much, but it seems that Burgundy is not taking as much care to be careful with you on board.
Burgundy doesn't like me. Is Burgundy mad at me? I feel like she's mad at me.
Based off your insight, it's hard to tell. You just noticed that.
All right, I admit, like, as soon as I notice the difference, I like tense up even more, which I'm sure doesn't help at all, but that's a natural reaction.
I am now scared of this horse I am riding because it doesn't like me. That is completely valid.
Just don't get behind it. Yeah, it'd be bad news. Feanor, I'm gonna have you
especially since I'm only pint-sized.
Yeah, right. Feanor, as the navigator, I'm gonna have you roll a d12 for me.
Okie.
And this is going to have a -1 modifier to it.
Cool. A 1.
Okay. Natural 1 or 2 -1?
No, I got a 2 -1.
Okay, cool. You continue on for the rest of the day as you begin to follow these tracks. It's pretty easy to follow, but it gets dark enough as the day comes to a close that you can consider pursuing this a little bit further, or you can attempt to find a place to camp. But today, you've made progress. But it's kind of up to you based off of how much you want to go. So based off of kind of tracking someone, you seem to be making some ground based off of the tracks that you're following. If you want to make a little bit more ground and put a couple more hours, I'm going to have you make fortitude survival checks to keep from getting points of weariness. Remember, because you have a pony in your company, though, the first point of weariness that you gain, you can ignore. And so... that's any time during your adventure that you're doing. So you could potentially use that.
Is that one strike across all 3 of us, or is that all 3 of us get 1?
So separately. So like the first time. So essentially what would happen is the first time that you have gained a point of weariness, it gets taken away. And so it's not just like once it's done, then it's done, even if you've passed like your Constitution saving throws.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, do we think we continue on through the night? Bjorn did give us warning that these areas are a little bit more dangerous at night than he initially thought they would be. But we may be able to keep making ground. These first couple days in tracking someone can really be the difference between finding them and them making their escape. So what do we reckon?
They've already got a pretty decent head start on us. I feel like we know that there are orcs out and about. Trying to go any further tonight to gain ground that we've already lost might just put us at risk, like more risk than we should afford. I think we should make camp, and in the morning we might travel a little bit faster.
We do have the ponies. That is one of the main reasons I wanted one. So that we could make up any ground we did lose. Jess, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that if we were to continue forward, then we'd probably want a torch or some sort of light source to keep following the trail and not get lost, and that might like alert other creatures to our position, which we don't necessarily want either.
You're right. No, you're right. Be a bit too obvious, a bit too distracting if we allow ourselves to be seen like that. Well then, let's see if we can find somewhere to make camp. And so Feanor's going to look like a little glade or something, just a little ways away from the river.
Jess, as a scout, I'm going to have you make a... I know. I really want to... You can get advantage on this since you guys are all focusing on this together. I want to focus on the rules. I've been really bad about that.
You're good.
So Jess, you can have advantage on this. You can either make an investigation or perception check as you search for a spot to be able to find for the evening.
I'm slightly better at perception with advantage.
With advantage, yep. So all of you are kind of looking at... You guys are all riding kind of side by side, looking for things together.
Okay, that's not good. 5. I'm
5.
very distracted.
The one thing about this specific part of Wilderland, and as you begin to make your way more inland, you've usually tried to travel by the river. And so this is the furthest inland that you have as you followed these tracks. You've noticed that it's less wild than you had originally thought. Actually, during the day as you were traveling, you made your way past, kind of off in the distance, a few homesteads that were there. You could probably assume that they were Bangornings. However, at this point in your travels, those are miles away, so you would have to double back to be able to intrude on potentially some Bangornings to be able to stay. And so the best that you can find is a couple tree outcroppings on like about 20 feet off of the main road.
Okay, yeah.
No, this works. Cool. Yeah, no, probably no fire or very
no
small
fire.
Like this is us eating our bread and our hard cheese.
Yeah.
For sure.
But Jess is a bit extra with it. She's got like the full charcuterie plate.
Oh my god, have you got salt and pepper? Is that paprika? This is supposed to be like hard tack, like bread, cheese, and.
I know. I didn't. What are you talking about? I didn't bring my herb salt. I packed light.
Herb salt.
Okay, I brought a small thing of herb salt, but most of it is back at the Easterly Inn.
I was just like looking at his food. He's like, "It's always been good as is. Don't need to add any." Oh wait, pulls out cheese fork. Yes. Starts eating it just by full stabbing.
Does he pull out the right fork?
I'm going to have, Feanor, I'm going to have you roll, because how many did you have? You got 12 things or 8?
I think it was the lesser amount. Let me just.
Okay, I think it was 8.
He only bought 8 because there were ones he was just like, I don't need that.
The cheese knife that you got from it, it is going to be a 4. So I'm going to have you roll just a D8, and whatever the value you get, I will tell you what utensil you grab.
I got an 8.
An 8. All right, so this is the steak knife. So you pull it out, and it's boom.
He just stabs it into the whole bit of cheese and lifts the cheese up to his mouth and starts eating it off the knife.
Make a dexterity saving throw for me.
That's not...
This is fine cutlery. It's not quite. It's very honed, ready for chopping some meat.
Oh no!
Yeah, you're fine. You've done this a time or two.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have forks. You have a spoon and a knife. A spoon for stew and a knife for everything else.
It's like he's never even heard of a spork.
A what?
You know what? I can't.
Theodric, what?
I cannot right now.
Me?
I don't think so.
That sounded harsh,
It
like
did.
A curse word.
It did, but going off context, I'm sure it's another useless instrument or utensil what they have.
Actually, this is interesting. Jessamine, what language do you speak? Do you just speak of the common tongue, or?
Yeah, we speak common. Most of Hobbit language has sadly been lost to the ages. Yeah, it's part of the reason why we track our lineage so closely now is because, we were wanderers for a long time. And I don't know, a lot of information got lost somewhere, so no one really knows where hobbits come from. There's theories that they're a subrace of men, but we don't really know, because a lot of that history was lost. Along with our language. We still have phrases, small words. My nan kept a dictionary. It's at home.
I love you for doing your homework. I love it so much.
Kyle's like, yes, this world building is going excellently.
It's not even his world, okay?
No, but he doesn't have to speak about it.
You know how
can just say
people are
Yeah.
like fanboying over the kind of stuff. This is me right now. The fact that you're spitting out
Aw.
facts about Tolkien's world that I don't have to do it. It's
Hey, I've read the first chapter of Lord of the Rings. I know what I'm talking about.
I love it. It's enough. I like it.
But we all just simultaneously take psychic damage.
Yeah, okay. Back in character.
But no, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I honestly wish I had studied more of it before she passed, but just I don't know, it wasn't really a field of interest for me, but I'm definitely more motivated to go back and learn some things.
Yes, no, being close to one's heritage it can be very humbling.
It's
to
everything.
find out the lines that you come from and the people that you descend from. Yes, no. It's a shame that you do not know more of the Hobbit tongue than no one does, but, well, there very few might. It seems lonely, like you're not in touch with your ancestors.
Why do you
Even
think
elves,
we take such great care
yes.
to document our lineage now?
Well, I get what you're saying, but it doesn't really feel quite. Maybe I'm not expressing it properly.
Mm-hmm.
When I hunt in the woods, when I craft a bow, when I skin a deer, when I hang the stag and strip it back, I am in touch and doing the exact things that my ancestors did. You know, maybe not all of them. Like, you know, I am of noble birth, well, lords and such, not royalty. But even though elves are so long-lived, I am so young. I haven't been able to experience most of that. And being able to live and live the way I do and speak the languages I speak, like I can speak Sindarin. I can talk to high elves in a tongue that has been around since the beginning of time. I can talk the woodland language, which and Thanos is gonna just start speaking in Elvish, and he's like, I know that you don't understand, but it is something there's something soothing about that. It's a closeness to know that the same words fall from my lips and from my tongue that did from my ancestors. Just a little bit of history that I carry with me. No matter what I do or what path I take in life, it's a bit of that culture that no one else can really take from me.
This whole
Did
time,
you-
Theodric's just been eating his jerky. Like,
And
Did
able
you,
to understand the
Good.
Sindarin.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, what about you, Theodric? What are the tongues of the Rohirrim?
I mean, we speak restaurant, and then we also have the tongue of the Rohirrim, which, honestly,
So a bunch of neighing, I'm assuming.
You hear a it's Baradrock.
What's your language?
we also have Rohanese, which, you know, is also known as Rohirric. And apparently some of us also speak Kuzdal, which I don't, because that's Dwarvish. But I've heard some people do.
Yes, no, the dwarves are quite protective of their language. It's actually interesting that any of your people know how to speak any of it.
It is honestly strange, but yeah.
Make a traditions check for me, Theodric.
My traditions. That's a 17.
So back in the day, along the mountain range called the White Mountains, it is the mountain range that kind of is along that separates the land of Gondor from the realms of Rohan. There used to be a dwarven civilization that lived there, and rumor has it there are tales that some Rohan men have become really good friends with the descendants of these dwarves which are now wanderers. And it is only in the case of true, really good friendship that dwarves would even be willing to part or teach any semblance of language to anybody that aren't dwarves. And so, yeah, probably that's where it comes from, is some, like, a couple specific families of Rohirrim claim to know, be as dwarf friend, that they know the speech of the dwarves. But that's also, nobody knows, because if they spoke it, no one would have no idea, none the wiser. So
Exactly. And Theodric's going to just be like, to be fair, it is just hearsay and rumor. I don't think I've ever actually heard anyone in Rohan speak Kuzdul. But you know, it is what it is.
God, I wonder what languages Valinor could speak. That would be... You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he only knew 2 languages.
I wouldn't be
If that was
surprised
it.
if he knew Hobbit speech than me.
Oh, yes, being as old as he is. Hopefully we run into him sometime soon. Maybe we can ask him. Just
what?
I
down in
still
your
haven't
notebook.
read my letter. I have no idea what it says.
I've got to get that to you.
Yes, you do.
Just write down in your book. We're gonna ask that question of him when we see him.
You start your own notebook.
These are for medical remedies and recipes and... Oh, never mind.
Oh, excellent. That's exactly the kind of book I think Valinor had.
Oh no,
But
I'm going
yes.
to... I'll write one of those cookbooks that's like gives the chef's entire life story before it actually gets to the recipe. Those are so fascinating to read.
That feels like it would take a really long time and be completely unnecessary.
You would think so, but you know, they're so popular. There has to be a reason for it.
All right, yes.
Must be a Shire thing.
Yeah, it's like this is where the history of this recipe came from.
Yeah, and like it gives you the whole genealogy of the family.
It comes from 800 years ago when we had the specific breed of tomato that we were breeding. By combining them with pumpkins, it didn't work out though. But then we went to their birthday party and I tasted this and it's really good.
No wonder Hobbit cookbooks are 800 pages long.
It's 3 recipes.
I love it. For your guys' watch for the evening, how are you splitting it up?
Well, Fëanor usually does 2 because he only needs 4 hours sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
And then might just take 1 each.
Yeah, if you go, I'll sleep first, because then I can just be up for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So I'll sleep. Like if Jess and Fëanor sleep and Theodric does the first 8, Fëanor will be up for like the second half of that shift, and then we stagger them as we usually do. But it should be that there, except for at the very beginning, for the first 4 hours, there should be 2 people awake all throughout the night.
Why should there be 2 people awake?
Because Fëanor only needs the 4 hours. So if I sleep at the first 4, he's just...
But there's 8 hours in it, and we need, like...
That's what I'm saying. If Theodric... Oh, you know what? Yeah. Stuff it. I'll go to sleep for 4 hours, and you guys just go to bed. And then I'll stay awake for the rest of the night. Cool.
Okie dokie.
Okay, I'll take
I could have sworn we staggered it, but... I don't know. Brain's not ready for math today, as I said.
Yeah, because we used to have Valinor as well, and so you could have
let me rest
2
for the
people up at the same time, but I don't think we could do that anymore.
Let me rest for the 4 hours at the beginning, and then I'll just be awake for the rest of the night.
So the first watch will be Jess for 2 hours, and then Theodric for 2 hours, and then for the rest of it, it'll be Fëanor for early morning.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so as you begin to settle in for the evening, kind of prop your backs up against these trees, Jess, it is a pretty nice night. It's a little bit humid. However, as you look out upon this vast wilderland before you, as you look north, you can see that it's definitely more hill country and it's flattened out much here. So you can see much further than you have been able to since this adventure has begun. I'm going to have you make a perception check for me.
Perfect. That's not good. That was a 3.
The mosquitoes are really heavy tonight. The
Oh,
bugs are out and about, but as you look, it's a little bit annoying. You find yourself swatting them here and there. Definitely, there's some big muddy spots off on the side of the road, but the still water has been attracting them. But not much has happened during this watch. And after 2 hours, you go to wake up Theodric for his.
Okay. I wish I had some eucalyptus. The bugs are horrible. I'm just gonna like cover every inch of my body in a blanket. Just bundle.
Yes, well, you do that and sleep well.
Have a good watch.
I will. And Theodric's going to take watch. He's got his sword, he's got his shield, and he's
Perfect.
aware.
Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
That's an 18.
18. There's something that's been on your mind throughout the course of this day. As you've been following these tracks, they seem to have been going through like the outskirts of the settlements, and you're curious on how close that it has gotten. One of the things that pops up in your brain as you keep watch is perhaps any of tracks for the future that you begin to follow. If it does go by any houses or settlements in particular, it might be a good idea to potentially ask if anything's been seen, whether it's orc, person, whatever the case. If you do come across any settlements that these tracks go by.
Okie dokie.
But as you wait and watch for the evening, it is quiet outside of the very, very constant buzz of mosquitoes in your ear. It's pretty peaceful for the evening before you go to wake up Feanor for his watch.
Excellent. And Theodric's going to walk over to Feanor and just does Feanor like sense him coming and wake up, or do I have to shake him awake?
Probably wouldn't take much prodding. He's like meditating, so he's like not conscious of what's going on.
Well, Theodric's going to just kind of nudge Feanor with his foot.
Knife goes through his foot. No.
Steak knife.
No. Yeah.
Cheese.
No, I'm not trying to eat his foot. But yeah, no. Yeah. Anything of interest?
No, I haven't been attacked by anything but mosquitoes tonight. So enjoy the rest of your watch.
Oh well. Well, I'll make sure to let everyone know if we're going to be murdered in the night.
Yes, that would be appreciated. I would like some forewarning.
Don't put your gear too far away from you.
I never do.
But yeah, and then Feanor, because we're actually near a little cluster of trees, is just going to clamber up into the lower branches of one of the trees.
Okay.
So that he's got like a slightly better eye line of what is coming in like the areas around us.
I'm going to have you make a perception check. It could be at +1.
Mm-hmm. Goddamn, a 10.
10. As you survey your surroundings, you begin to kind of get a hold on where you are specifically. You've been putting 2 and 2 together as far as mapping out this specific section of the East Anduin Vales. Actually, not quite East Middle Vales before going. And probably within about, at the pace that you've been going, probably in less than half a day, you'll be coming to the Old Ford. But as you look down southward, you don't see any movement in the distance. You look to your left and into the east, And you can see the trees of Mirkwood actually looming in the distance. And there's kind of like a darkness that seems to be coming from there. But you don't hear any noises in particular that would allude to any senses of danger. And as the early notes of morning begin to appear and the bugs begin to dissipate a little bit, you see a beautiful sunrise, and you are awoken, you and your company, to another actually nice day of weather.
Yeah, okay. With the sun coming out, Fëanor is probably going to make a very small fire to just heat up a little bit of water, like, more or less just like so we have something warm to sip on as people wake up. Do stuff like gather the tack and stuff for the horses, just while the others are waking up still.
For sure. And with that, you begin to quickly eat a little bit, make sure you're ready as you begin to hit the road following the tracks. Because there's no rain, you're able to pick up on them often on the road. So you find yourself kind of weaving bits off and on the road. Almost kind of serpentine-like as these tracks begin to follow, and they eventually begin to follow due east. So you begin to go kind of in this southerly direction, and you're kind of snaking around like this for a little bit until they start making their way more east towards Mirkwood. Theodric, I'm going to have you make a survival check for me.
He just tossed a BRB in the chat.
Oh, snap. Okay, that's okay. We have a scout. Scout,
That's okay. I'll do it then.
have you make a investigation or a perception check for me.
Okay. Perception.
Our legally mandated scout can help us in the situation.
I am very monetarily motivated. Hang on.
I will use that to bribe
12.
you in the future if I have to.
Hey, I'll probably take it. I got a 12.
Perfect. As you make your way off this path and you follow these footprints, they actually begin to separate to a degree. The dragging path has started to become more south, and the many footprints that we're following begin to go into Mirkwood, into the wood, and so it's up to you to decide which path to follow at this point.
Okay, hang on. Which set of tracks went where?
So you could probably at this point anywhere between 3 to 4 individuals were following this person who is running. Those tracks have gone due eastward into Mirkwood, a little bit southeast, but due directly south, probably a solid mile off of the main path. The dragging path has started to make its way due south.
Okay. Well, we don't want to go into Mirkwood, so I nominate that we go following this limping guy.
Well, that is what we assume to be our quarry. So.
And if he's limping, he won't get far.
I'm honest. Actually, if we found still seeing his trails, and it seems to be dragging, is there any signs of blood?
Every now and then you'll see a small bit of some dried blood. However, it doesn't seem to be profuse. It's just a little bit here and there. You can pick up trails of it.
Okay, interesting.
How's Burgundy warming up to me?
Burgundy hates you,
I wasn't asking you.
I'm gonna have you make an animal handling check for me.
Okay, here we go. There it is. Hey, that's not bad. That's an 18.
18. Burgundy seems to be doing better. As you start to get the hang of just kind of riding, and you have kind of relaxed and loosened to a degree.
Yeah.
I'm
definitely sore from yesterday.
Yeah. She has begun to stabilize a little bit, and it's less bumpy. One of the things that you actually realize is she is very much obeys like where you're pulling. Even if you're just trying to get your balance, you might be moving one direction just a little bit with the reins, and she'll start to veer, almost kind of like she is trusting you completely to guide her in the direction that you guys are going, which has actually been helpful when it comes to following the tracks as you are closer to the ground and you're able to kind of see a little bit more. She seems to be doing fine. Day one, she's doing better, less bumpy.
Okay, yeah. Good to know. Good to know.
Okay, sweet.
Another probably about half day passes by the time you get to the old ford. There is not actually a path at this point. So I've kind of described this to you before. There is actually a big kind of like big slope that goes down into the East Anduin Vales from kind of this area. And on the slope, it's very rocky. There's kind of a narrow, not stairwell, but like a very gradual incline that's closer to the Anduin. But here, it seems to just be just a rocky fall. You could probably climb down. But it's definitely a more treacherous path if you want to just try to make your way down, especially with mounts. You would probably have to go back to the main slope at this point.
Yeah, okay. What if I tried going down just myself and then Fëanor, you and Theodric can loop around and meet up with me later.
All right, if that's what you wish to do.
Yes, it's totally not an excuse to get off this horse.
It's all right. If we need any time to take a stretch, we can disembark or dismount.
No,
yes.
it's just I don't want him to get away.
No. If you have any trouble, make sure we can hear you. Don't wander too far. But yeah, and then he's just gonna let you kind of depart.
Yeah, I'll stay out of sight as much as I can.
I'm going to, first and foremost, as you dismount, I'm going to have you make a stealth check for me as you stealthily make your way over to kind of the edge and as you peer down.
Perfect. Oh, maybe he fell down. 21.
21, you very much stay out of sight. Fortunately, there are a number of tall grasses that are in this area, and so as you peek over, you do so silently. There's not even a noises that you make. But as you survey what's down below, you can see that it's kind of a craggy climb if you were to do it, and you see that there is definitely a place where this individual has climbed down. You don't see any tracks, but you definitely see specks of blood. And you begin to map it out. As you can tell, this person's gone from rock to rock, done like some like climbing across the ledges. But from the top to the bottom, it's probably about a 25 to 30 foot drop from where this area is. So if you want to climb, you absolutely can do that. You don't see anyone right now, as it were.
I'll actually just like see if Fëanor's paying attention and like gesturing to come closer.
Yeah, Fëanor would.
Yeah.
What's up, Jess? Did you see anything?
Look there. He's definitely made his way down here. If you could pull me down on a rope, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Easy. Fëanor's just gonna do what they've done before. He's gonna like lash a rope to Nim's horns and kind of just slowly lower you down over this, keeping the tension.
You can see as you do this, as you're slowly being lowered down, Burgundy has kind of wandered her way over to the edge, and she's looking over the edge. Eyes very focused on you, Jess, as you begin to do that. Jess, I'm going to have you, as you hold on to this rope, with advantage, you can make a either an acrobatics check or an athletics check for me.
Ooh, definitely going to be acrobatics.
Okay. So as you're climbing down, you're not just dead hanging on it. You're using your feet to kind of go and jump from rock to
Yeah,
rock?
of course.
Yeah, of course. And so
It's a 12.
12. You get down pretty safely. You see everybody up above before they start making their way a little bit southward. In order to catch up with you, it's probably going to be about an hour detour for them out of the way to be able to get back to the position that you are.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna try and like stealthily, like probably hiding in some of the long grass with my short, stubby little legs, and just keep following these tracks.
Perfect.
But I'll actually like make a point to like get my knife or some rocks around and like make a clear trail, so they don't have to like waste time looking for things.
Absolutely. As you do so, I'm going to have you make a nature or survival check for me as you're doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Nature or survival. They're both the same. Let's go for survival. Ooh, 17.
You continue to follow this path southward, and you follow it for probably a solid 30 minutes before something feels a little bit off. You can tell that this person has limped through some tall grass as the grass has been matted down, but you can see that it actually there is a goalie. A hidden goalie in the grass. Unfortunately, because this individual had made its way through the glass, you could see it without having to worry about falling in. It's kind of sloped, but it's a little bit rocky, and it descends probably about 15 feet downward. And it is, again, pretty stony and rocky at the bottom. And as you peek over, I'm going to have you make a stealth check for me.
Okay. 18.
You peek over and you see at the bottom a body.
Oh.
It's difficult to tell because it's clearly a body. You can see a hand that has like made its way out onto one of the rocks, but it's kind of twisted between a number of rocks, as if this thing had slipped down or fallen into it, and it is just there. So you see a hand out onto the rock.
Okay. How long is this gully? Is there like a way around it, or do I have to go down?
It's circular. And so so it's almost like this used to be some kind of pond that had dried up at some point. And it's pretty rocky at the bottom.
All right, I'm gonna do one loop around the perimeter, see if I can find like any like guys waiting to ambush us or any other tracks before I investigate the body.
Perfect. Just for a little bit of context, you're still probably about a solid 6 or 7 miles from the eaves of Mirkwood. And so it would take a decent amount of time. You're not like tucked up right against the side of Mirkwood. So it's pretty clear around. There's a few trees that do surround it. And as you look and you investigate and you search for any signs of people, I'm going to have you make a perception check for me.
Cool. Implying that there is something to perceive. Oh, but I got a 9.
You look up into the trees, you look in the grass, you see if there's been movements, because there's a bunch of tall grass that's around, and you would be able to tell if something has been patted down recently, like any broken grass twigs. You do notice there are a few spots that there are. However, as you wander around and kind of hide yourself in this grass, you don't see any signs of anybody other than what is down inside this ditch.
Okay, perfect. I will cautiously make my way down to the gully and investigate the body.
Make an acrobatics check for me.
Cool. That's unfortunate. Natural 1. For a total of 3.
You begin to make your way over to the edge, and it crumbles beneath your feet as you begin to slide down.
Second body added.
second body added. Fortunately, you don't run into many of the sharp rocks.
I'm okay.
However, you
Yeah.
do take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as you fall down and impact.
Fine.
You stand up, brush the dirt off of your knees.
Oh, just like brush the dress down entirely. Oh, now it's got a rip in it. Dang it! I have to repair this tonight. All right. Who is this dude?
Okay, so you make your way over to the body. Are you doing so stealthily, or are you doing so just curiously, without trying to hide yourself?
I mean,
If you do
as
stealth,
far
it'll
as
be
I know,
disadvantage.
there's no one to hide from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think I'll just like approach him normally.
Yeah.
Okay. You do so, and as you do,
Yeah.
you notice that
I'll have my knife ready though, like
perfect. And as you do, you approach
It'll
this
be,
individual.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But I'll be approaching like with my knife in my hand, but like hidden between the folds of my skirt, so like the guy can't see it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You approach and you don't see any immediate movement of this individual. You can tell though that it has some armor on it. It has basically kind of like a shattered metal boot that it has on, and the hand that is out, you can see that there are a number of broken fingers. It has pale flesh, and it looks to have been very fresh. There's active, like, dripping pools of blood that are here. As you make your way closer, I'm going to have you make a medicines check for me.
Okay. Okay. 10.
You investigate the body, and you can tell that there is a very clear cause of death. It is most likely not from falling. As you move a few rocks and debris away, its head is severed clean off of its shoulders.
Ew.
This is an orc body.
Okay. Interesting. I just take a moment and like fully like to be repulsed.
It's
And
pretty
then
gross.
after
I'm
a
going to
few
have you make a
minutes-
wisdom saving throw for me.
Okay. Is this against Shadow?
This is against Shadow.
'Cause I do have
This is a
advantage.
truly horrifying sight.
Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
legit. From someone who's never seen a decapitated orc body before.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know. Did
We did
Taylor,
kill
did you
quite a few of
decapitate
them.
that orc?
Yeah, we did kill quite a few of them.
We
pretty
decapitated
badly.
Yeah.
quite a few.
This is kind of
Yeah.
a different circumstance, though. It's like the
It's
middle of
very
the day.
different, yeah.
Middle
Yeah,
of the
it was-
day.
yeah.
You didn't necessarily expect it to be a decapitated body.
Yeah,
it's
definitely not.
different situation.
Let me see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's that. Yeah. Okay. So wisdom save with advantage because it's shadow. Roll. That's pretty good. 16.
You gain 1 point of shadow.
Not good enough. Oh, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. But yeah, this is truly gruesome. But you kind of go into kind of like medical examination mode. You do see.
Oh no, I go into looter mode. I look to see if he's like I search the body and I see if he's got the sword on him.
This could absolutely be part of the like cause of some of the shadow as you're just like going through like the belongings. It's like
It's an orc. Who
like,
cares?
it's pretty nasty. But
There's blood everywhere.
yeah, it's.
I try and be careful not to get orc blood on my dress.
It is not coming back from the brink. We'll just say that. And you begin to search the body, as it were, and you don't see anything out of the ordinary that a normal orc would carry. However, you see in the hand that is not sticking out, the hand that is clutched to its chest, is basically a piece of torn cloth. And as you look at it, it looks to be decently finely embroidered. as if it had been torn in some kind of struggle.
Okay. Can I make out any of the embroidering on it? Like, is it a name or a design?
It's a design. I'm gonna have you make a traditions
Okay.
check for me to see if you kind of understand like what's going on here.
Okay. I don't know if I would have advantage because I'm a hobbit, but okay. Okay. That's not good. 6.
6. This does look vaguely familiar. From what you know of the woodmen, they tend to be pretty simplistic. However, their typical designs that they have on their clothing is embroidery of more kind of forest-like features. However, some of the other people that you've interacted with, whether in Wilderland, primarily Beornings from spending time with Beorn and all that kind of stuff, he doesn't like embroidery or anything of any kind. But based off of Maravich that you saw, you could tell that right off the bat, this is probably from a Beorning cloak. This is more of their warrior kind of signage status.
Okay. It wasn't off Maravich's cloak, though.
You didn't
notice
see any cloaks on the Beornings when you found them.
Okay, all right. Does York have any like money on him?
He has 2 silver pennies on him.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay. All right. Okay. What do I think killed this guy?
So based off of all the evidence that you've seen, you notice that there was a struggle, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you are unsure if the struggle happened either down here or up there. I'm gonna have you make an investigations check.
Yeah, because I was looking for tracks earlier. 11.
11. As you look on the side, you see that there is blood that seems to have streaked down the side of this. However, this is a typical, not a ton of blood, like typical, like little bit of loss, meaning whatever came down here, whether it was the orc or the person that you are tracking, made their way down here most likely first before the attack happened.
Okay. So he like laid in wait for the guy?
It's hard to know.
All right.
You don't see another body, though.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting.
Did
I see another set of tracks leading outwards when I was doing my initial like sweep of the place?
You saw that there were a few patches of grass that seemed to have been beaten down, leading in the south. Potentially whoever survived this encounter had made their way out the opposite side and had made their way through the grass. You did notice that.
All right, cool. Wow, how pleasant. I'm gonna mark an arrow on like one of the rocks of the direction that I'm heading next for the other guys to find, and I'm gonna keep heading south, I guess.
Okay. Theodric and Feanor, as you and your mounts plus Burgundy hasten to catch up to Jess, you, within about an hour, you do find your way back to the location, and she very clearly has made signs that, like, she has gone in this direction. She has carved into the ground arrows of the way that she is going. She's rearranged things to make it to where it's very evident. So you don't have issues going into this specific direction. But by the time the two of you do stumble upon this goalie, I'm going to have you make perception checks for me.
Oh my god, can I roll higher than a 5 today? I got a 5.
I got a 20.
Right before Feanor jumps, or Feanor and Nim fall into this goalie, Theodric, you're able to let out basically like a yell to stop them. Your steeds essentially were walking, and it just out of nowhere, this small little goalie comes out of nowhere. But you're able to stop him just in time with that really high roll, so that's good. Before you go tumbling down. You see that there is a body down there. You don't see that is decapitated, but you can tell that it is pretty fresh. You also, I'm going to actually have the both of you make investigation checks as you are at the top of this.
Who do you reckon that is? Looks a little bit large to be Jess. I got 16.
I got a nat 20, but it was -1, so I got a 19.
All right. You notice that this is clearly an orc body. Enough of the debris has been moved from around that you've seen, just like, and you eventually do spot the decapitated head. And the two of you also notice that there is a bunch of rocks that have been lined up into a giant arrow. And as your eyes follow it, you can see little hobbit footprints. Just big enough as she made her climb up the side of this gully off into the southern direction. You don't know if Jess is the one to specifically do this. If you want to investigate the body further to see what potentially the cause of this decapitation was, you can, or you can just continue to follow the tracks if you wish to do so.
Stuff it. Let's have a look at the body.
Sure.
For all we know, Jess came across it and just kept going.
I'm going to have
Even
both
without-
of you make acrobatics checks as you slide down the side.
So, okay, 13.
13?
2.
2. You very, very elf-like just whoosh, slide down the side. However, on the other hand, Theodric, you do so, and there is a rock that steps out, and you begin to fall head first down into the rocks. You end up taking 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Yeah, Feanor's going to help him do his feet, but in the
Ow.
yeah, and Feanor's just more or less just pulling out. Sorry, I just got to remember what weapons I actually have.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going to pull out just a dagger and he's just going to cut away some of the grass that's like closest to it, just so he can get a bit of view on what's going on. We know what direction Jess went in. But yeah, he's just going to kind of like lift up the orc body and like prop it up so it's like sitting up. And he's going to go get the head and put it on the body.
This body has clearly been rummaged through. Jess took no care of putting it back to how it was. You can see pockets turned out. You can actually see bits of the armor have been cut away as Jess had been searching. However, as you put the head kind of back on, like up and on the body, and you see, yeah, this orc definitely, this is its head. However, you can see that the cut is clean. It didn't take multiple. It didn't take multiple cuts to do this. It was just a one-shot go.
Well, Theodric, it seems that whoever did this, whether it be our little Jess or perhaps who we're pursuing, knows what they're doing with a blade. This is good. This is probably good, very good quality weapon with someone who knows how to wield it.
Well, we know Jess has certainly been here because there's nothing left in the pockets.
But have you known Jess mine to decapitate anything with a single blow?
Well, no, because she's not tall enough for that. But you know,
Yes.
like I'd say it was already dead, and just kind of took the opportunity.
All right. Well, we're in a little gully. You say, like Feanor's looking around to see if he should, if there's anywhere he can burn the body. Because better to burn it to purge away the blackened blood and stuff than just to leave it here.
You could probably just do it where you're at. You could gather some of the dead grass that's kind of around and then up and then kind of stuff its armor full of it and try to light it.
Yeah. Feanor's just going to do that.
It smells awful, by the way, as you do it.
Oh yeah.
This is just
but
foul.
Better than animals and stuff coming up to eat it.
True.
But yeah, sets it up, and Feanor's just going to burn it.
Perfect. As you do so, you begin to make your way up the other side, carefully this time, and you see that there are some tamped down places where a path has been made. Jess very much made it to where she made it sure that there was more of a followable path than what she's currently pursuing. However, as you gaze off into the distance, you can tell that at this point, daybreak is just starting to happen. So we're probably about 4 p.m. You have probably a solid 4 to 5-ish hours of daylight left before you could potentially catch up to Jess. And unless she is moving, most likely you're probably going to do so.
Yeah, then we're definitely just going to continue on our pace until we can find her.
Okay. Jess, this entire time, are you staying stealthy?
Not the entire time.
Okay.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm just sort of bloodhounding, nose to the ground, like keeping my eyes peeled for anything. And then if I suspect that something might be sneaking up on me, then I'll go into stealth. But I won't be stealth 100% of the time.
Make a perception check for me.
Okay. Come on. Here's to not getting my head cut off. Pretty good. 17.
You do a good job at this, ducking in and out, especially after seeing the orc body. You're kind of on high alert.
Yeah.
You do hear a few twigs and branches break every now and then as you're walking, and you're able to duck into the tall grass. You don't notice any people per se, but there is definitely some wildlife that is out and about. And you can actually, off in the distance, vaguely hear the sounds of growls, but it's uncertain what kind of animal it is specifically. I'm gonna have you make a nature check for me.
Okay. I got no clue. I got a 2.
But probably about another 20-25 minutes pass after you've left the body. You can see very speedily Theodric and Feanor eventually begin to catch up. They, chances are, probably don't notice you initially as you as you're riding through.
Yeah, that's okay. I just like step out of the bushes, and I imagine actually Burgundy would be the first one to spot her.
Oh, 100%.
Not gonna lie, I can just imagine Theodric and Feanor kind of like looking at each other and occasionally scanning the ground. The bloody footsteps keep vanishing out of sight. I don't even know if we're still going in the right direction. It's completely just barreling towards you, not even aware you're there. Just standing in the middle of the path, like they're gonna stop, right? They're gonna stop, right?
I use like the blade of my knife to shine it in Feanor's eyes.
God, no, yeah. Oh, okay, here she is, like a ghost stepping out of nothing. Hello, Jessamine. What were you able to find?
Not too much. Orc body back there.
Yes, we were acquainted.
Head cut off. Not very nice. No.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, wasn't it, Theodric, when we set it up on the stump?
Ew. Sorry, I need a
Funny isn't
moment.
the word I would use.
I need a moment. Okay, I'm fine. Ooh, I think Nick's talking to someone.
Sorry.
They're all good.
But yes, but yes, no. So orc body, and what else were we able to come across?
Well, the orc was holding this, and I'll like hand, I don't know, probably Feanor because he's on his horse. No, because like Theodric's on his giant horse. Yeah, and I'll just hand him the scrappy bit of cloth. Looks like it got torn off a cloak, potentially a Bjorning cloak.
Yeah.
Maybe the prisoner stole one of like a cloak or something, and they all ripped it.
Was this a Bjorning? Like looking at it from what Feanor can tell, like, because he's probably going to pass it over to Theodric as well. He's like, Theodric, do you recognize this from your time in Woodman Hall?
Theodric does not.
Yeah, he
But
probably
he's just going to turn to Jess and be like, Jess, you spent more time with Maravich and the Bjornings than any of us. Like, were they known to wear cloaks like this?
That's a good question. Did I see anyone else wear cloaks like that?
No. As far as the actual warriors of the Bjornings, the only one that you were truly acquainted with was Maravich.
Yeah. Was he wearing the cloak like that last time I saw him?
Yeah. So the last time you saw him, basically
Okay.
the warriors of the Bay Warnings, they actually wear chain shirts with leather over the top, and they have these kind of long like blue and like golden and actually if you look close to what it is,
Yep.
it's the patterns is actually honeybees. That it's like gold honeybees that are embroidered around the side of the cloak.
Yeah. Like, she's been staring at this thing all day, and, like, now as Theodric said that, it's finally clicked for her, and she goes, "Oh, of course, this is oh, yeah, yeah, all Bjorn's warriors wear things like it. I don't know, I only knew Meravit, she was the only warrior I knew. But, like, look, see, if you can see here, that's, like, the start of the honeybee there, and then it shrinks down, and, like, you can see, like, just a little wingtip there."
Interesting.
Sorry to interrupt and
Hmm.
do this. I'm dead tired from work and everything.
Aw.
No
I'm
worries.
gonna dip. I'm
Yep.
having trouble staying awake.
No worries, no worries. You have a good one. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
joining.
Sorry, guys.
No worries. We'll be around for probably about another 40 minutes. And so
Yeah, I'm
we'll be
heading
here.
straight to bed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love you
Cool.
Sleep
all.
well.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'll
Talk to
see you
later.
next session.
Bye. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Bye, Dom.
See you then.
Yeah, bye.
But as
Okay, so now that we've got the dead weight out of the way. No.
Oh my god, I was gonna make the
I'm so
same
sorry.
joke.
I'm sorry.
Is that an Australian thing? I think it might be.
it could be.
What?
Just like making jokes about someone leaving. It's like, oh, thank God we can actually start having fun.
It must be. Oh my gosh. I say things sometimes that come out so mean, and I'm immediately like, I'm so sorry. I did not
Yeah,
mean
it's
that
just
at all.
part of our culture.
It really is.
That's too funny.
Sorry, Kyle.
No worries, no worries. You guys found a cloak piece with honeybees on it. So
Cool.
Absolutely fine. Perfect.
Cool. If there's nothing else that we can really gather from it at the moment, like we can assume that whoever took the sword probably also took Maravich's cloak,
That would be a safe assumption, yeah.
and it means that we are on the right track.
and as you begin to follow, as the kind of day draws to a close, Feanor, I'm going to have you make a investigation or a survival check for me, and that's going to be followed up with a roll of a d12.
Okay. I got a 7 on my survival.
Okay, you're going to have no modifiers on this d12.
Cool, and 11.
You have no issues picking up on the trail. Actually, you have noticed as you progress forward that there is a decent amount of blood that has begun to pop up, more so than the last. Whoever this person is, they seem to have been more wounded and have started bleeding more. You continue to follow for about another 4 hours until the evening begins to set, and it is truly beginning to be dark. I bring the attention again. Do you want to continue? Do you want to press forward, or would you rather stop? Investigating these tracks, they look recent, as if they have been made within the past day.
Look, I reckon we push on. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
I
think?
am also inclined to think that. As
Yeah.
long as we don't need like light or anything, because that's just gonna draw
Well-
too much attention. And then if he sees light, then he might be like
Okay, it's just one of those things we'll have
more
to
hiding.
risk.
Yeah.
Honestly, even if we travel with minimal light,
Yeah.
so like a single torch or something through the
Yeah,
night, even if that's just like walking so you're not up on the horses.
yeah,
If in the
Um,
morning we
hang
can't
on.
find his trail, then we know we've surpassed him,
yeah.
and that's limits. Like even like we know then that how close we are.
Sounds good.
So you begin to follow into the evening as you pick up this trail. You follow it pretty easily at first, but as it gets darker and darker, the chances of you need to at least have some kind of light source to be able to
Yeah.
continuously follow.
I believe we have the shutter lantern. That is something that I have, where I can open up like a slit in it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I also
so-
have a hooded lantern.
Yes, so we might use those so that we aren't
Have
like,
a
people
nice
can't see
dim
it.
glow.
Yeah, so people like can't see us from behind or the sides really, like unless like it's more just from the direction we're heading, people would be able to see the light.
Mm.
I'm
Keep
gonna
us a little bit more hidden.
I'm gonna have you all make a stealth check for me. I'm gonna make one for Theodric, so give me 1 second as I log into his character sheet.
Beautiful.
Oh god.
Oh, that's my worst stealth roll yet.
I got an 11.
Okay.
I got a 10.
Okay. And
We're still averaging pretty good.
yeah, it's pretty good unless Theodric just
really tanks our average.
Well, I'm pretty sure
He needs to get a 9.
I'm pretty sure he has a disadvantage because
he does have disadvantage.
He can get a 9 with
just
disadvantage.
pulling it up here. That's true.
Yeah.
That's perfectly doable.
All right, you got a 14.
Well, you're better than both of us. In his
Damn
big heavy
it.
armor.
Was that with disadvantage?
I need to be the one rolling for him, apparently.
Goodness.
Yeah. So you got a 14. You're able to stay relatively stealthy as you pull these out. Theodric at first mentions about he pulls out a torch to light it, but as the two of you bring your hooded lanterns out, it definitely becomes the more preferred option. You stick close to the ground as you follow these tracks. And you do so for well into the night. I'm going to have each of you make perception checks for me.
Okay.
Hang on, just let me mark off the use of my
Nat
lantern
1
oil.
for a 4.
Woof.
That's a 7 for Theodric.
Perception?
Mm-hmm.
12.
Jess, you are still able to pick up on the trail. Both Theodric and Feanor completely lose it at points. But fortunately you're able to continuously follow it. You do this for a degree, and as you keep your ears out, Jess, you do notice that there are way off in the distance some kind of calling. Almost like shrieks, the sound of shrieks. You don't know if it's someone, if you don't know if it's a beast or a creature, or if it's someone yelling for help or anything like that, but you hear shrieks off in the distance. But both Feanor and Theodric do not hear this. They're just super focused on trying to continuously follow these tracks, which they're having difficulty doing in the first place.
Okay, I'll just, like, pause in mid-thing, like, sort of bring the reins up because I'm practiced now. And just be like, shh, do you guys hear that? And like really listen for the sounds.
It's pretty infrequent, but every now and then you'll hear a kind of off in the distance. It vaguely sounds animalistic, but it also could be a person or creature.
I know, it's a ghost from Minecraft.
Hardy har. Can we tell what direction?
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to have you make survival checks for me.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. An 11.
Nat 20 for Theodric. For 20.
Nice! This is why he's our person.
Oh, man.
We just need Kyle to roll.
I don't know if you guys saw the other Eriador adventures, but I was rolling nat 20s for the enemies literally the entire time, and it was very, very scary.
This is great. He's getting out all his good rolls on Theodric. This is what we want.
Every time I roll, apparently, I've been rolling nat 20s, and then I'll go on a stint where I'll be rolling nat 1s, so that'll be fun, too. But, no, it's good.
Did you want to throw up Theodric's artwork in his little
yeah.
screen space? Yeah.
Thank you so much for reminding me.
I just looked and noticed that you hadn't done that.
The three of you, who rolled the 7?
Me.
Okay, so both Theodric and...
No, I rolled a 6.
6. All right.
That's even worse.
Both Theodric and Feanor, you notice that it's coming from the southward direction. However, Theodric does notice, too, that there is actually, as you look up, a faint light off in the distance. It is southwest of your current location. So not southeast towards Mirkwood, southwest towards the Anduin.
Okay.
Well, I think I know which way we're heading.
We're following the tracks, right? No, I'm just kidding.
We can always
All right,
pick them
let's
back
go.
up. Yeah, we're going to make our way to it. Like, lanterns shut as much as they can be to just be bringing out the minimal amount of light. And I'm going to recommend that we all stay on our mounts. Like, best to stay on our mounts for now. Hopefully, if it is orcs or wargs or something, we can scare them by having a charged assault.
Which direction are you going? So there's a southeast and then there's a southwest. So the noises
southwest
are...
we're going towards the noise.
Got it.
Yeah.
So the noises are coming specifically from the southeast, but the light is in the southwest.
We'll investigate the noise first. It's probably more pressing. If someone's got a light somewhere, they're probably camped.
Okay.
So we can always catch up and investigate that in the morning.
Fine.
You begin to follow the general direction of the noises. Are you remaining stealthy at all, or are you just following it as fast as you can?
I think as fast as possible.
Yeah, stuff it. Let's go on a bit of a gallop. If it's someone in trouble, we need to go see them.
Like unlike last time.
Coming in with a thundering charge is going to be better than coming in stealthy, I reckon.
You begin
Can I make a dexterity saving throw just for fun to stay on my horse?
100%.
Yes!
100%.
Please don't fall off.
My saving throw is pretty good, I will say.
Rolls in that one.
Hey, no, I got a 17.
You stay on. You feel quite duty driven to the point where actually at night too it's a little bit better. Because you don't feel quite as high up. You've gotten used to it, but also you're duty driven and it's not as visually daunting as you begin to make your way more towards kind of the southward Mirkwood area. Sure, why not? You begin to gallop in that general direction. You do so, and I'm going to have you make perception checks for me. That's going to be disadvantaged because of the galloping that you're doing.
Yep, fair enough.
For hearing.
Ooh, a 5.
And I got an 11.
That's a 3.
Wouldn't you get advantage because of Nim?
I do not know.
Oh, okay. I thought Nim might be able to help you or something.
Maybe just normal. It would just cancel out the disadvantage.
That would work.
So that's still an 11.
Okay, cool. You travel for about 5 to 10 minutes in that direction, and all of you... Theodric got a 3.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, got a 3. But all of you actually lose traces of this calling. Actually, you can, as you do so and you follow it into kind of like the easterly direction. Who got the highest on that?
I think I got the 11. So.
You've actually noticed altogether that based off of the noise that you're making, whatever it was has been scared away.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
All right then.
Okay. If that. Okay, it seems to be perhaps some animal, maybe a coyote or a wolf.
There's clear signs that something was there, and it's scattered.
Is there any signs of any struggle? Like, is there any signs of blood around, or
like wounded animals or anything?
Make an investigation check, the two of you.
All right.
Yep.
I can give you advantage.
Yeah, sure.
10?
Yeah, if you guys are doing it together.
If I don't make a check, then I can give you advantage.
Cool. A 15.
Sweet. With that, you do notice that there is no sign of a struggle. However, there seems to have been 3 separate creatures that were here. Based off of the general size, they seem to be smaller. They don't seem to be like full person size, but they do seem bigger than Jess as far as your size goes. So it's like kind of like medium small creatures. 3 of them were here, and they all scattered. 2 of them went into the east, like directly east, and another one, and the third one went south.
Okay. I want to actually dismount, and I want to see if I can investigate the actual tracks and stuff more to see if I recognize like any of the footfalls.
Make a survival check for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna like, oh, very carefully. I'm just gonna like
A
pat.
2, not 1.
Ooh.
It's hard to tell. It's too dark. And like basically the dash away was so much that whatever potential footprint that could be left, it's literally just kicked up dirt. It basically just like lines in like the general direction of like where they're going. So
Well, at least we know that this isn't our adversary, our quarry, because there seems to be some small animals. Smaller, at least. Stay on your horse, Jess. They might take you.
What? How small is small to you?
They're about as big as you, and you'd be surprised.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Why am I doing this? Okay. I'm just gonna like pat what's the name? Burgundy.
Mhm.
I knew it was a color. I'm just gonna like pat her neck very like as soothingly as I can imagine. I'm just gonna like, okay, steady girl. And I'm gonna try and like stand on her back to like see if I can see where the light was and if it's still there.
make an animal handling check first as you steady her, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna have you make an acrobatics check as you stand up.
Very fun. Where is it? Okay, it's right at the top. I always forget that it's right at the top. 11 for animal handling.
She stays calm. She
Very
stays
cool.
still and sturdy.
17 for acrobatics.
You stand up quite swiftly. You look up in the eastern direction and almost directly due east, still a little bit more south from your location that you're at. You can see there is a faint glowing in the distance. It's almost like,
Okay.
you know, like how if you look at the sky and you see like a super distant star, like just barely, it's like that kind of light.
Okay.
Well, let's make our way. I reckon we make our way towards it.
Yeah.
I suppose we travel a little bit slower this time.
Yeah.
Are you doing it stealthy too, or are you just wandering that direction?
Look, let's try to be stealthy. We'll give it a. We'll
Yeah,
give it a
I
go.
reckon we wander in until we get closer, at least.
Well, my thought is, this won't be the guy we were hunting. He wouldn't make a fire. You know,
You
like,
don't know.
well, unless he somehow killed all the orcs.
I mean, he assumes that no one's hunting him, right?
That's true. Yeah. You know what? Stop it. That's a very good point. Let us just wander up without wander towards the fire. Maybe it's just other people out on the road who maybe
Yeah.
purpose.
Like we wander until we get closer, and then
Then we
start.
send Jess ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is what I'm for. I'm the scout, guys.
You continue to wander for about 15 minutes, and as you do so, the flame light gets brighter and brighter and brighter until you're probably about 100 yards out. You can vaguely, just barely, make out a large silhouette, almost as if it's a building. And you can smell at this point the smell of fire, almost like a campfire. But there is a building, and you can see through a window there is a small there is a pretty big actually fire that's lit in a fireplace, but there's no other
Okay.
light coming from within.
Interesting. Is there other windows in the building?
A couple windows. So the way that it's set up is there's kind of a central door, and then there is two windows on each side, and that's all you can see at this point. But it is the door itself is facing due east, so you can see it through one of the windows, like towards the back, at the very back end of the house. There, that's where the fireplace is, through the right window.
Yeah.
Well, Jess, you make your way forward, and if we need the cavalry, well, we're right here.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna let Jess move her way
Alright.
on forward.
Quick question.
Mhm.
How do I look? And I like give a spin.
How much blood is on her?
Her dress is torn a little bit.
Yeah.
She looks a little bit dirty. She patted a decent amount of it off, but She looks traveled, but not necessarily 100% put together. But it's also late at night. They might not notice.
That surprisingly, you actually look really good for a traveler who's been on the road for a while.
You say that like it's a good thing, but I don't know if it's a good thing.
Okay, well, okay.
But I also don't have a spare dress, so...
Hear me out. Look at me. Now look at you. Who would you want to walk up to you in the middle of the night, unexpectedly? A small, potentially young woman, coming up to in a little dress. I guess that would be pretty horrifying. In the middle of the night, a young girl walks out of the shadows,
Holding a dagger. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. But I feel like you're a lot more disarming in your appearance. And no, your clothes still look good. Maybe you need a patch here or there, but that's just a sign of your tail on the road.
All right. Okay. Wait here, Burgundy. I'll be back soon. And I give her a little scratch on the nose.
At this point, you've learned how to dismount Burgundy as you continue on foot. She stays behind. Theodric and Feanor, what are the two of you going to be doing in the process? Are you just going to be watching from a distance, or are you also going to be trying to creep closer?
No, Feanor's more or less just waiting on Nim. Honestly, if he can in this moment, he's probably going to try and tie Burgundy to something, like not super tightly, but enough the way she's just not going to trot off.
About 50 yards out, there is a small fence. And as you make your way this much closer, it's actually kind of reminiscent of the same architecture of a Beorning architecture. This seems to be some kind of homestead.
Okay, yeah, he's just going to kind of lose, like, it's a thing that you can do when you have horses with their reins and stuff. You can loosely tie them to things where if they're really in danger, they can just pull free, but it more or less just like stops them from moving. It's literally, they're like, oh, I'm attached to the fence, and they don't really move. Just because if we're I want Burgundy to be able to flee.
Right.
But yes, we're gonna wait by like that 50 yards out while Jess does her thing.
All right, Jess. You approach the door, and as you do so, you notice kind of like this familiar wooden structure, wooden architecture, and there's a couple steps up until you get kind of to the front porch of it. Do you knock? How do you want to announce yourself?
Okay. Can I, really quickly, before I do that, can I get like a little pocket mirror out of my pocket and then like use the mirror to like look and see what's in the lit room?
Sure, absolutely.
Through the window. Cool.
Yeah, through the window.
Yeah.
So both windows are open, and so you go over to the one that's right with the there's a dark window, then there's the one where there's like the fire in the room. So you want to do the one with the fire?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You do so. I'm gonna have you make a stealth check for me as you do this to see how kind of inconspicuous you are doing it.
Pretty inconspicuous. 25.
Very inconspicuous. You do so. You peek up through this window, and you can see that there is a large individual sitting on what looks to be a armchair, and you can hear a. There's someone sleeping on the armchair. In the armchair.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, I'll put my little mirror away and remove myself from stealth and go up to the door and just like, yeah, I'll knock pretty firmly. Like I want to wake him up.
Yeah, absolutely. You do. Doom, doom, doom.
Sorry,
and
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
You hear. And you can hear some movement when you hear, "Who's there?" It's a very gruff voice as it echoes from within.
Oh, just a little traveler. I was just wanting to know if you had some space in your barn or an extra room for the night.
One moment. and you can hear that he's shuffling around, and you can hear metal clanking as if he is fumbling through perhaps keys. And you hear a bunch of clicks, and the door barely swings open as he looks out. He doesn't think to look down, but he looks out and does not see you.
Hello. Oh, hang on, let me get into character.
A child.
Hello.
And he kind of leans closer, and he's basically rubbing the sleep from his eyes. As you look at this individual, he is clearly Beorning. He's large build, and he actually has this stubble, white facial hair. This looks to be more of an elderly person, and at his left hand you can see an axe he's kind of has at his side that he's holding by the handle, but the head is firmly on the ground. And he's like, a child, what are you doing out here all alone?
Me and I'll look back. My friends were just passing through, and we saw your fire.
I see. Come in. And it doesn't take much convincing as he just tells you to come in.
Okay.
You do so, and he closes the door. He closes the
doorstep,
he closes the door behind you before you're able to go out and call or even signal. And he props he walks over to the back of the room next to the fireplace, and he props his axe up. And he basically takes a rag, and he washes his hands and or cleans off his hands as he walks over, and he holds out his hand to you, and he says, "Geralt, at your service."
Geralt. And I'll take it very gently, not in a traditional handshakey sort of way, just a really gentle squeeze almost. And she'll do a little bob of a curtsy. It's very nice to meet you, Gerald. I'm Jess.
Jess, what are you doing traveling the road this late? It's got to be 1, 2 a.m.
Well, we were looking for someone. Someone that maybe came through here. You haven't seen any other travelers today, have you?
Not today. Last night, individual did stop by for a little bit. There are a few amount of travelers. I tend to sometimes play host to some woodmen and whatnot that come through here. That my homestead is pretty much on the path from Woodman Town to the Old Ford. A number of woodmen have been going back and forth between Mountain Hall and Mirkwood as of late. But yeah, last night I did play host to someone for a little bit. They stopped by for only a brief amount of time before I let them go.
Did they have a sword by chance?
They had a sword, they had armor, they had, a pretty seriously wounded leg. They had a piece of stone or something caught inside of it. I was able to patch them up and send them on their way.
Ah, I see.
This seems like a very kindly fellow. I return.
When did he leave here?
Sometime in the night last night, probably 4 a.m. He stopped by for an hour or two. He looked tired. More tired than I've ever seen anybody. He had a look of, sleeplessness in his eyes, but clearly he was being tracked by something. He talked something about orcs and getting home and whatnot.
Did he mention to you where home is?
Yeah, Stonyford. Is this a friend of yours? Clearly he was in trouble. Have you noticed any trouble on the roads?
Lots of trouble, yeah. He was actually on his way to Beorn for something, but they were attacked by orcs.
Oh.
And we have been requested by Beorn to go and find him and bring him to Beorn's Hall.
If he was to go to Beorn, he's going in the complete opposite direction. He didn't mention anything about meeting with Beorn.
Well, it wasn't exactly willingly.
Oh, Do tell. And he goes and he pulls up kind of like a little ottoman for you to sit on as he
Aw.
kind of leans back in his chair. You can see that like he has a little bit of trouble in his old age as he sits back and he says, Just a couple more questions before we get your friends. Of course, they're welcome. Have some stew from earlier this evening still on the kettle. But tell me, so you're traveling in the middle of the night, pursuing this boy, who's going to Stonyford.
Boy?
Yes, I'm assuming you
How
know
old
him. That you're after him.
Not at all. No.
Oh, I see.
How old do you think he is?
He was kind. Let's say, I mean, he looked world weary. I think that's the best way to explain him. Early 20s, perhaps. He was Beorning from Stonyford. What was his name? I know he didn't willingly give it to me, but I did notice that he had a piece of parchment on him that he was vigorously scribbling on, and I think at the top of it had mentioned something about like what was it? And he thinks back. Oh, Derek. Oh, Derek, that's the name. He was kind. He even offered to cook for me. I'll just say he's not the greatest cook in the world, but he did help. He did provide me with a little bit of some leftover rations that he had, and he paid me in silver. He had an entire pouch of silver with him, and he paid me 5 silver. I've never asked for payments from anybody before, but he was very kind.
Ironic.
How so?
Tell me, Gerald, have you ever heard of a Beorning warrior by the name of Merovich?
Practically legend around these here parts. He's the right-hand man to Beorn, of course.
He's dead.
What do you mean?
Jeez.
I'm gonna have you make a charisma saving throw for me.
Oh, okay.
Oh my lord. Yeah, you know that hero? Yeah, he's dead.
I got an 8.
He looks to you with a little bit of doubt, but he continues on. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, perhaps I should start at the beginning.
First, you want to get your friends out of the cold. I see that you mean no harm about being here, and it's nice to be able to hear a story for some travelers. Do we want to gather them?
All right. And I'll move to the door and gesture for the other two to come in. I'll actually move outside and be like, so the person who lives here, his name is Gerald. He helped our little escapee, not knowing who he was, of course. Turns out he's going to Stonyford, which I think we already knew.
Yes, the Beorning settlement.
Yeah. He's about a half a day, or maybe a whole day away from here.
I'm glad that we kept on through the night then.
Yeah. I think we should rest here for the night and then keep going perhaps later in the day.
I think that might be best, especially if whatever creatures that were out there are still in the area.
Yeah.
If they follow the scent of a deer and some horses, they may make their way here. So.
Yeah, he's quite nice. He seems harmless. I was just going to tell him all about our quest and stuff like that. Unless you think we should keep that.
No, if he's a Beorning, then I see no reason not to trust him.
Okay.
I imagine, like most men and elves, there's going to be bad apples amongst them, but I will not just assume that of someone unless they indicate otherwise. And honestly, informing him about the mission that Bjorn himself gave us might hold a bit more sway. He might be a bit more willing to offer help.
Yeah, that seems nice. Not like some of the people down in the Shire, I'll tell you that much for nothing.
And as you say that, you hear him call from the front porch, the 50 years back. Oi! Get out of the shadows, it's blimey freezing out here. Get yourself in, I got fire. Got some pelts here for you too. Hot soup's up as well. Ugh.
Oh, he's got soup. What a man. And he's going to, and Feanor's going to bring like the pony, and like we're all going to come up together and kind of tie off the horses, and he's going to leave Nim to wander, if you will, and we're going to enter the house.
Yeah.
Oi, come on in. You must be bloody freezing as he gets you in, and he sits you down and he puts pelts on your laps and everything. He goes and he serves you all a little bit of soup.
Yeah. Gerald, these are my companions, Theodric and Feanor.
He wipes his hand on his shirt, not quite as meticulous with the rag as you. He wipes his hand on his shirt as he basically hands over the bowl, and he says, Geralt, nice to meet you. Geralt, nice to meet you. At your service.
I'm sorry that we've intruded on you.
Oh, no, not at all. In my old years, it's always fun to see travelers. I have a story or two to share, but it's nothing compared to travelers on the roads. Strange times, dark times we're living in. Strange folk about.
Yes, but we're trying to make it a bit brighter if we can.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
Jessamine here tells me that she was just about to tell you what we've embarked on.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes. So.
Please.
Yes. Just go ahead.
Oh, do you want to tell her?
You've got greater knowledge of Bjorn, which is where we're coming from. Bjorn's homestead. No. That's the last of what I was saying. Just because I said that and didn't want the dude to suddenly be like, "What?" But yeah, it's like Jess has got more of an understanding of the Bjornings and stuff, so he's going to leave it to you.
Yeah, let the wee one speak, Jess. I'm all ears.
I am the wee one.
You are the wee one.
My name's Jess. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So it must have been, what was it, 2 or 3 days ago? Can't be more than 3. Yeah. Anyway, we were camping and we heard some commotion. We went to see what it was the next day, and we found Maravich actually quite tragically slain in battle with orcs, along with one other warrior whose name
Odo.
Yeah. Sorry?
Odo.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I don't know if I wrote that down. Oh, no, I did. Along with another warrior named Odo. There were 2 orcs that were slain, as well as evidence that a prisoner had escaped, carrying things such as a purse full of silver pennies, and Maravich's sword, his personal sword.
A golden sword.
A very nice sword. And we've since found more evidence that he might be even wearing a cloak, which is the epitome of disrespect.
Stolen valor. I understand.
Yes. Anyway, when we returned the bodies to Bjorn, who I have met previously, has been good enough to guide me on some of my travels. But when we returned the bodies, Bjorn asked us to hunt this prisoner and return him to justice, to put it simply.
He was an odd boy, that's for sure. A murderer, I don't think. He was kind to me. And then he thinks about it and he says, You said the cloak that he was wearing, it was stolen from Maravich, and the sword, I never saw the hilt. He kept it covered. He had a cloth wrapped around the hilt, but
that's a very distinctive sword. He wouldn't have wanted anyone recognizing it.
We would whoever has it, I'd say, would produce the scrap of cloth that we had with like the pattern on it.
I'd definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, was this similar to the pattern on his own cloak?
I didn't notice any pieces missing, but yes, this was the cloak. I just thought he was one of the traveling warriors that Beorn hires. They come through every now and then just to keep up, make sure we're all safe.
We aren't actually aware of. Did we ever find out? No, we aren't aware of what the crime that he's committed is. So
Well, even Bjorn doesn't know.
Yes, we're not jumping to conclusions. It does seem that, a happenstance, this man made advantage of an ambush by orcs to avoid being judged. So we're not aware of what his crime is, but still, didn't even have the chance to. Didn't even consider going back to Bjorn's lands, regardless.
I see. And he looks to you with concern, and he thinks about, and he says, perhaps he did steal these things from Merovich, a terrible, terrible crime in itself. But, and he says, perhaps. And he stands up, and he kind of wanders back and forth in front of the fire. Was anything else stolen off of him, other than these, well...
effects? There was the silver pennies,
Yeah.
the cloak, the sword. Was there anything else that we had that we noticed that was missing?
What?
Do we have it in our notes?
Hang on, let me read.
Silver, you say? And as you're looking this up, and he wanders over and he says, and he basically pulls out a drawer in his nightstand table, and he takes a few coins out, and he walks over and he says, if these belonged to Merovich, they're not mine. And he basically puts the 5 silver pennies down on the table.
No, Feanor is going to grab and be like, I understand from where you're coming, but you should not be punished for your hospitality and kindness to strangers on the road. I am sure that someone as noble as Merovich would be warmed knowing that there are people like you out here willing to help strangers.
Make a persuasion check for me.
Oh, that is perception. But, a 3.
These belong to Beorn. Please, take them. Offer them to him. Say that, Geralt sends his best wishes.
Okay, scoop them up, and I'll put them in like a separate pocket on my bag, so I know not to spend them.
This is very concerning indeed. But it just doesn't add up. The boy didn't seem like a thief, a murderer, but I have no reason not to believe you. This is all very precarious, you understand?
Well, he might have just been taking advantage of the opportunity that was given to him. From what you were saying, he's pretty keen to just go home.
But what doesn't sit right with me, though, is if he is a criminal and he is running from the law, why he would be so blatantly open to me about returning home. Telling me his name.
Well, he didn't. Did he tell you his name outright? You said that he was quite secretive about it.
You're right. As I remember.
Yeah.
It was on the piece of paper. That's what we were.
That's right. It was on the Oderic, right?
Oderic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, look, if you said that this is a young man, and the main reason that we have assumed that he is a criminal is because someone appeared to be bound in Merovich's boat. And then the ropes were cut clean, and this boy is left. And Merovich's equipment is missing. We want to know more about what happened that night. Who knows? Perhaps this boy isn't even a criminal.
We have no intention of killing or harming him in any way.
No, we want him to be able to stand before Bjorn and plead his case.
Exactly.
Judgment at
Bjorn
the
just wants justice, and I think that Merovich and Odo and their loved ones deserve to hear what happened.
Well, if I could be of any assistance, any help, I will do what I can. And from what information that I knew from him, other than the name and his location where he plans on heading,
The name is already so much more than we had.
No, yes, and you're doing more than enough just by sheltering us in your home and feeding us. And you provided us with valuable information.
Good. I'm gonna have you both of you make insight checks for me.
Okay, perfect. Nice. 17.
Both of you realize that he has gone from a kind of a position of interest to more of a little bit of panic. He looks to the two of you and he says, "I can't believe that I housed a criminal in my house. Just what has this world gotten to? I've been so used to it being so peaceful here of late." And he says, "If it is of any help to you, it wasn't just a stone wound that I treated him for. He had an arrow shaft in his left thigh. He had broken it off, but it was a poisoned arrow. He had been bleeding for some time, but he's not going to be able to make a full recovery for who knows. I did what I could to staunch the poison and to stabilize him to a degree, but he did seem in a hurry. I do find if you do take to the road, you might be able to catch, especially since you have horses, you might be able to catch them sooner than later. Stonyford is less than a half-day travel from here. It might be best to check there. He seemed keen to go home."
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if it's a half day's travel to Stonyford, then he might already be there. If we leave tomorrow, after we've gotten our rest, we might be able to catch him.
Especially because if he was desperate to be home, I doubt he's going to be leaving quickly. Especially after so many days of traveling light and fast.
Yeah. And then the poison in his legs to consider as well. If he's visiting family in Stonyford, then they won't want him to go in that condition either.
Just like out of character. To be fair, we did say that we may push through the night. So do we want to try and get to Stonyford tonight? Like just keep riding through the night into the morning to see if we can try and get to him either if he's not quite at the town yet, or get there as early as possible.
Yeah, we could do it either way. Personally, I'm keen to spend the night. But
if you spend the night, since you do have shelter, with only 6 hours of sleep, I would allow you to not have to roll the Constitution saving throw. Since you are like in shelter and in safety, you wouldn't have to take turns.
Yeah. Okay. I reckon we stay then.
Yeah.
If we've got somewhere dry and warm, and probably good company, this beyond.
And then I'll cook you breakfast.
Believe me, while your previous guest may not have been the best cook, Jess here cooked in Beyond's halls and fed everyone.
Seemed like the least I could do.
Yeah. You're in for a real treat.
No need to be rude or anything, and he looks to all of the three of you, and he looks specifically to you, Feanor. What are you doing keeping your daughter up so late at night and forcing her to cook for me?
No. It's my own free will.
Wow,
I promise.
no, I think I was just confused for a human. Wow.
What?
That hasn't happened to me before.
No, wait.
Have you seen her ears? They're a little bit pointed. Hobbit have a little bit of pointed ears.
A little bit.
Wow.
There's a little bit there.
No, well, kind sir, I am not but 101 years old. So, far too young to be having children.
And he just like laughs. Older than me. You've got me by 20.
But no, Jess
You
here is
are
not
all
my daughter.
ancient.
She is one of the hobbits, hobbit kind.
Yeah.
One of what?
Believe it or not,
What is a
I
hobbit?
am
A halfling.
That's not very nice.
I am older than I look.
Oh my lord.
Short, kind of like a dwarf.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
No.
Like
Think of a really
like a
short.
more
Child
beautiful
dwarf.
Yeah, I
dwarf.
suppose. Oh my lord.
All right, let's try this. I never try this, but let's try this. Have you ever heard of Bilbo Baggins?
Can't say that I have.
You
Him
and I
and
will
some
get on
dwarves went
fine.
and killed a dragon like 6 years ago at this point.
No, don't help him.
I think it was King Bard who killed the dragon.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
yes,
with the black arrow, you were
that-
absolutely correct.
that
Hobbits
look-
had
okay.
nothing to do with it.
You're right. The dwarves and the hobbit just woke up the dragon.
Yeah, they were the
Was
problem, not the
it
solution.
you? Did you? And he
And they
points.
didn't
He points
even-
to you, Jess. Were you the one who helped defeat the dragon? Are you a hero?
No, that was my cousin.
Yes, no, her blood relative.
Your cousin.
Yes,
Sounds like an interesting person. Hobbit, you
not
said.
really. Well, yes.
Oh. I see. And he sits back down in his chair. Ugh. It's been a while since I've been able to sleep on the bed. If anyone wants that I do fear one of these days I won't be able to get out of it. It's clean, fresh linens. I fluffed the pillow not too long ago. Last week.
Look, I'll be fine.
You can have the bed if you want the
Yeah.
bed.
Make use of the bed. It'll be fine.
Don't think I can get out in the morning. My back has been... It's been in an odd sort age. You know what I'm talking about. And he points over to Feanor.
Yeah, no, you hate when you get those, pain in the back of your knee where it aches and your lower back. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Thanos trying to think of, anything he's heard any, really, really old elves complain about. But the thing is, all the eldest elves are the most powerful. So he's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, yes, I've been around dwarves and humans. And yes, they all get sores. Thinking of Baldur. yes, okay, cool. Yeah, it's like,
yeah. Yeah.
well, okay, let's get set up for the night.
Yep.
Jess, you can take the bed. If not, Theodric will just probably fall into it.
Theodric has
I
been
mean-
half asleep this whole time.
Are you sure? I'm happy for Theodric to have it. It feels a bit of waste for me to have it because I'm so...
You also prefer
Fun-sized?
the finer things in life, where I think we don't mind roughing it quite as often. Do you know how often I slept on the floor in a forest?
All right. I can't argue with that. Fair enough. You twist my arm. Why don't you?
I don't care which one of you takes it, but it'd be a shame for it to go to waste.
All right. I am going to inspect it for bugs and stuff.
For lice.
Yeah, make an investigation
Yeah,
check
for
me.
lice and bed bugs. Was
Oh,
it?
you can make a medicine check for me if you're looking specifically for those
Medicine
things.
check. Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Pulls out a rock, holding it over the over the
I
bed
just
like a little.
Oh
metal
man,
detector.
I do the tuning fork. Yes. I got a
love it.
17.
You examine this bed. The linens are fresh.
Clean.
As you look at the pillow, though, you see that it's a little precarious. He fluffed it last week, but are you sure it was just a week ago? It might be best to go without putting your head on that pillow for the night.
Fair enough.
But the bed's clean, relatively.
That's good.
It's pretty clean.
Yeah. I like
Cleaner than
make
the
a little
floor.
nest out of all the blankets and use that as a pillow.
And with that is where we're going to end our session for tonight.
All right.
Sweet.
Before I forget, no one let me forget, but I'm going to make a poultice for that man in the morning.
Oh, I love it.
Feanor was literally,
Yeah.
while everyone else went to sleep, he was going to go find a big stick and carve the dude a walking stick.
Oh, amazing.
to put next to his bed, even if it's just like a bit of extra help to get out of the bed in the morning. Old man on his own on this farm, needs the help where he can get it.
You guys are so kind.
Yeah.
So sweet.
I get him one of the walking sticks as the 4 tennis balls on the bottom of it for the extra support.
What
keep
I'm
it from
gonna do?
scratching
What
his
I'm gonna do?
floors.
Oh yeah.
Like gets him a pole walker so he can walk around with it.
I'm gonna specifically make a poultice that helped Jess's grandmother, what Jess's grandmother would use on herself to help with those aches and pains and
I like
arthritis as well.
Basically like Icy Hot or like Ben Gay. Do you guys have those in Australia? Like the cooling, you put it on your skin to ease your sore muscles and it's super cold.
Sure.
Yeah, that.
I think we have Deep Heat, which is what we have, which is pretty much Icy Hot.
Yeah. Keep it out of your eyes. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Ugh,
but yes, no. Good session.
Good. Yeah, let's go
that.
ahead. Let's go ahead and have we'll start with Jess, your opinions on tonight's session, Spider, and then we'll go on to Nick. Perfect.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I like tracking things and finding the orc body was interesting. I really thought we had caught up to him, but nope. Not that lucky, unfortunately. That's right. Seems like we've gained a day on him, or maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I will say the one nice thing is the fact that you did hail for a pony. That actually did help.
Yeah.
He had quite a bit of a lead on you guys to begin with.
Especially
so definitely closing that.
You would have been long gone.
Because the last thing that
gone off
the last thing that
place.
Gerald said was that it was the night before previously, so you're at least within 12 hours of where he was. So, plus he's on foot with a poisoned leg. So.
Yeah, we're gonna catch him pretty easy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I love Gerald. He's so cool.
Oh, Gerald.
He's just
why is your daughter doing that?
I know. I was thinking about this too because I was just like, Gerald, not to be confused with Gerald, or Gerald,
the
other Beorning. No, the other Beorning that you guys fought in the Gathering of the Five Armies.
I was waiting to hear if you're
his name was Gerald.
I assumed it wasn't the same one, considering you described this guy as an old man.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why
Gerald
I wanted to make
50 years in the time that we've seen him.
I wanted to make a distinction just in case you guys did know it. It's literally a difference of a T. So 2 Beornings that happen to be. So I just wanted you guys to be sure that's different people. So different people. So.
Fair enough, man.
Gerald freaking lost that fight and instantly aged him.
He was just he took it really hard.
Oh yeah.
That's too funny.
It's the stress that'll get you.
It's the stress that'll get you. Absolutely. You guys, as you made your way back home across Wilderland, one of you died. So you can imagine what he had to go through.
Yeah, exactly.
To get back to Wilderland.
Imagine how much dying ages you. It's just not good.
Yeah.
I think it stops at that point.
Well,
you get
it
revived.
just becomes even faster because of decomposition.
Yeah, there you go.
Aha.
You become more corpse-like.
I can confirm being old is like being a corpse.
The smell, the skin.
The line
everything.
between the two has varying margins, shall we say. What else? Oh yeah, I like that Jess was able to strike out on her own and do her own little thing. That was really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
It is fun when we get those opportunities because look,
I feel like Jess strikes out on her own a lot. Maybe it's just because of being the scout or being stealthy howitzers, but I'm going ahead of the group a lot and just doing solo adventures.
You saw how much fun that I had on my own when, as Feanor, I'd go off and do my own thing. That when Jalen died, you're like, I want to do that, and so you did.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it's great. I think it adds like a lot to the breaking up the travel as far as that goes, and also like discovering things and how like you interact with it before, like the things that you're able to find out and discover about the like orc corpse before they were able to get to it, and without them knowing like what actually happened, like their experience with it. I really liked how you're like, I'm gonna put very clear signs that like of where I'm going, so like they had no issue getting lost or anything. So it all worked out. It was
Because
great.
even if it slows me down, then they won't lose track of where I am and where I'm heading. Yeah.
Yeah, I love and appreciate like the good plans that you guys have to keep you from getting separated, because it could be really bad if you get separated. Not just getting lost and stuff, but yeah, there's still encounters and stuff that could potentially happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have random encounter tables and like that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
And then we died.
One other highlight from the session, Nick talking about like language and cultural things. I thought that was really awesome. And just like Kyle complimenting me on my Lord of the Rings knowledge is
it feels good.
So
like
good.
when I like
Very validating.
DM a session, and it's like people are like, even if like they're even just give me like a little bit of like that effort that they've like tried to go into like the history of the world and that kind of stuff, whether it's Lord of the Rings or any other campaign I'm DMing for, like it feels so good to be like, oh, they actually like went above and beyond with their character, especially like Lord of the Rings and stuff.
These
like, I
weren't
love
required readings.
Yeah, exactly.
And you did it anyway.
I'm like a teacher who feels proud.
Oh my god. If Lord of the Rings was a required reading for this stream, I would be so screwed.
No, that's honestly a really cool thing about this campaign, is that you don't have to have that knowledge.
Well, and the beautiful thing is too, like it's kind of nice seeing like the unknowing, like almost like ignorance of like, because you wouldn't know. I mean, the events of the Lord of the Rings haven't happened yet, but even in like the Hobbit, like it's like a lot of like hearsay from like the Sackville Baggins end and like all that kind of stuff, and so I feel like you're like very genuinely playing it out in that way, like as someone who's like not as like well known, like someone who's learning about the world as you're adventuring through it, but the things that are important for you to know, like the life of hobbits and what's going on with hobbits, you do know. And so I'm just like, oh, this is so great. So thank you, I appreciate it.
I do have my own little headcanons and like specific stuff that like how Jess specifically interacts with that section of her culture. Like I said, for me, part of the reason why hobbits are so obsessed with genealogy now, at least the way that Jess interprets it, is because they lost all this knowledge earlier.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just fun to see, like, okay, so this is the lore, and then this is how my character interacts with that lore.
Yeah. It's great. You can kind of take it and make it your own. It's so good.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much fun. Especially since no one else is playing a Hobbit. I'm like, great, I can do whatever I want.
Exactly.
Well, building on that a little bit, I do love when we've been playing these games, like there's like, you have your own little like things of like, oh, this is what, like, I'm like, oh, this is what Fëanor was doing in his youth. Like, he was basically a scout in the woods. We've kind of like touched on that a little bit, but like entirely like whole big important things, like we just never mentioned Fëanor's mother. And then it became a whole thing of like, she basically got like touched by Shadow and had to like sail across the seas, and so she's just gone. And like that was just, I think that just came up all, like in a conversation. I think when we were playing with Fëanor and Corinthial, when it was just talk, like it there was no pre-planning there. It wasn't even really a thing we thought about. It was just like, oh yeah, my mom's gone, and like being able to just be in the moment as well. And then knowing stuff like, elves can just choose to sail across the sea, and having that little bit of extra knowledge about the world helps it feel more connected.
It does.
For people who know the source material, and then people who don't, it still feels real because it's consistent.
Yeah, 100%. And like the more that you can like engage yourself into the campaign, the stakes become higher. And so like doing certain things makes more sense, where like maybe it might not be like the most practical thing in the world to like as like an adventurer to do certain things, but when you have like personal things at stake too, like it really helps to drive the narrative. Because that's the one thing like as a DM that I just absolutely hate, when like I've done a bad job of like building like the necessity for like a quest and people are just like, why are we doing this? I don't really care about that, because I've had my fair share of experiences with that, and it's not fun. It's not fun for me. It's not fun for the players, and so like kind of building on like you guys getting invested in your character, building out your histories, understanding the source material to the degree that your character would is beautiful, and I love it, and it makes it just fun for me, and hopefully it makes it fun for you guys too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
I'm having fun.
Good.
Yeah, it's cool, and I like that we kind of had like a little arc at the beginning, like not really about Fëanor, but like in like the wood in Mirkwood, so it's like he's a little bit more of a focus.
I'm telling
and then
you,
we went,
that's intentional. We're
no,
working our way through.
No, I know, and I like that we've been getting hints and bits and pieces for Theodric, and as much as Dom isn't here at the moment, like the build up that we've been getting since the very beginning of all these blood rages and like him finding, well, they've been like drip fed info about it, and now we're finally on our way to maybe go talk to someone who can help him a bit more about it. That and time traveling ghosts. Like, that wasn't drip-fed info. That was, we just injected that straight into our veins.
Yep.
That was fun, though. I had a good time.
I liked it, too. That was good.
Fëanor is never going to look up the information, nothing. He's just going to completely assume that it never actually occurred. It's one of those things if someone's like, do you remember that time you met those ghosts? No. And internally he's like, don't bring up the ghosts, please.
You're gonna talk to your dad and be like, oh yeah, I actually had this elven lady who came and talked to me right around that time, and it's just like, what?
See, and
I'm asking if I had a child, which I'm just like,
amazing.
And this is why he is never bringing it up.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to have that information confirmed or denied. He would rather just be, it was just a thing of the shadow. I was put into an illusion based on the memory of this place. That is enough for me. I don't need to know if I actually traveled backwards through time. That is too much.
And I love
Very
this.
fun.
I love the way that everybody interacts with like everything that's going on. Like it's so good. Like I'm happy to be able to be here with you guys and doing this. And you guys made some pretty good progress. It might not seem like it, but you guys have made some pretty good progress on this quest so far. So I'm excited to see what future adventures take you next session, which I guess now's a good time to bring that up. So our next session is going to be in 2 weeks from now, and so that will be the 24th of April.
Ooh,
and so
day before Anzac Day.
Yeah, and so the way that we have everything oscillating is the Wilderland adventure is always going to be on the 2nd and 4th weeks of the month, and then the area door is on the 1st and 3rd weeks of the month. And then if there's a 5th week, that will either be weeks where if the stories match up enough where we will have crossover, or where we if nothing, like if you guys are like not at that point yet, we will just take a week off for that, so you guys can have a week off, so we can kind of keep on the same track pace for that. So.
Yeah, no, that works.
Sweet.
Yeah,
I believe not April, but May there is a 5th Wednesday, so there will be maybe a week off or not, depending on what's actually happening there. But so the 24th is when a Wilderland Adventure is meeting next, and then next week we have in the morning we have Eriador Adventure. So.
What I'm hearing is that we need to speed run this quest so we can meet up with Valinus, so he can finally give me my letter.
There you go. Beautiful.
No, I completely forgot that we all got letters from.
I need to talk to Dan. I can be like, dang, get freaking on that.
I haven't forgotten at all. I bring it up every single session.
I know.
Yeah, I forget every session.
That's too funny. Oh my gosh.
But yes.
I forget like until the session, and then I'm like, oh yeah, just
that's the thing.
Still need
Valinus
to
gets
read
brought
her
up, and it's
letter.
just like,
oh no,
something's
I
out of place.
need that letter.
So cool.
Man.
Do you guys have any last minute things to add before we do go? Since we're reaching time here. So.
Okay, yeah.
No, honestly, it was a great session, and like we've spoken before about how like our sessions aren't always like super intense or super like even really like heaps is happening in them, but it's like you're in this world. Oh, we're hunting after this dude. Like it's almost like when you play a tabletop game. Where you're like an investigator. It's like a lot of collecting pieces here and there, and they build up into your final product, whether that be an encounter or like you just run into some orcs. It's like it still feels like that tension. even though we're not in the Mirkwood anymore, which I think is a thing that we all pointed out. When we were in the Mirkwood, there was like a lot of tension every single day, even if it was just all we did was travel. And that might be a little bit lessened now, but I think that's just from us being more experienced at the game, not really the fact that it's like less engaging or anything like that.
But also Mirkwood's its own beast. Like it has like the mental effects like on you, and like even for elves that are like experienced and everything. Like the danger is always evident. While the danger is here, not only are you more experienced technically as travelers, and so the dangers aren't as much as when you have like you're sitting with pretty at like 8 to like 12 HP. But also too, like you kind of have more of like a bearing. Like you're not going to get ambushed by giant spiders in the middle of your sleep. Maybe orcs, but you know, who knows?
Yeah, but no, it's good. Still having a lot of fun with it.
Great.
And I look. It'll be really fun when we can do a crossover session. That'll be
I'm
huge.
looking forward to that.
You know, whenever that does happen, that'll be really cool.
I believe last week when we were doing it, the NPC that they have, Calefir, he's a man of Gondor, and like literally he's built just like as a tank. And I remember I had mentioned something last week about like, oh yeah, like he's literally built to be like the best tank. And then Dom was actually in the chat, and he was just like the best tank, like referring to it. I was like, all right. So I had to go into this whole thing. So it was also fun to see kind of like him popping into like the session and like interacting with it as it was going to. So
the inter-party rivalry that is going to build up.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. But no, it's great. It's good stuff. And with that being said, we actually do have a YouTube channel for Fantasy Forge Studios. So if you want to catch up on any of the episodes from Wilderland Adventure, which again, we're 49 episodes into Wilderland, so there's a lot to catch up on there. And I believe we're 3 episodes into Eriador Adventure. Make sure that you guys take a look at that. And so you guys can be caught up about like what's going on like in both worlds and what's going on, because they take place simultaneously. Everything like in the same time frame that things are happening east of the Misty Mountains with this campaign, stuff is happening on the west side of the Misty Mountains with the other campaign. So really cool. It's really fun. There's a lot of source material to be able to work with for both of them to make both hopefully very engaging for both companies. So it's very exciting. We do have a number of other streams this week, which we have Everlast this weekend, so Saturday 10:30 a.m. JST. We have Everlast, the tabletop RPG that I'm creating. They are now landed in Port Grandium. If you go to like a Tolkien kind of like campaign like this, where it's like exploring, fighting orcs and stuff, they're being pirates in this other campaign right now, and so that's a very different look at things of what's going on. So make sure to check that out. We do have a new coffee that has come out, so Coffee of the Realms, based off of the locations in Everlast, so make sure to check that out too. We also have our sponsor, Daisnaki, their Japanese sweets and luxury treats company. They have a number of basically Japanese snack boxes for sale, from popular Japanese snacks in their omakase box to more traditional Japanese sweets in their omakase lux box, and all the way to character goods, from more kind of like anime goods to Pokemon, Nintendo, Sanrio, Disney. They're really cool. If you do check them out at checkout, say that Forge sent you. That's how we are able to get credit, and put your Twitch name in there if you want to get credit for the next omakase box giveaway. We are now working towards our next box. The last one that we had was given away at the 3-year anniversary, which kind of lined up perfectly for that. Hey, first time here. Thank you so much for jumping in. Thank you so much. As I had mentioned, with JSKK, I don't know how to pronounce all of that. Head over to the YouTube. We have a YouTube page. You can check out all of that. We have a Discord. Make sure you go check that out. If you want to catch up on everything that's happening, we have a lot of episodes. Like 53 episodes at this point. 54.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. And there's been a lot, and got a lot of cool stories and awesome moments that we that we're all really fond of and look back on with a lot of good laughs and times.
Yeah.
For sure. So we have a lot of content to catch up on, but long story short, this is a campaign. This is Adventures Middle-earth. Takes place in the world of Middle-earth, set between the years of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So it's really cool. 6 years after the fall of Smaug. The campaigns are going on. So thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you can join us for more streams. Sorry I don't look at chat too much while I'm DMing, but I appreciate you guys. Any last minute things from any of you before we do head out here?
Stay hydrated.
Don't be raisins.
Don't be raisins.
Heck no. Nobody's got time for that. They're disgusting.
No, probably just a huzzah.
Huzzah.
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Thank you all so much. May the road go ever onward and onward, and I will see you personally on Saturday for Everlast, and I'll see you next week for some more Adventures in Middle-earth, Eriador Adventures in the morning. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.